The Pacific Northwest could better be described as the picturesque Northwest. It's an amazing region of the country, but it has been without IndyCar racing for the past 11 years. However, that all changes today here in Portland, Oregon. And that absence has not gone unnoticed by the passionate fans who have been turning up en masse since Friday. It is very clear IndyCar has a place in the hearts of the followers here at Portland International Raceway as long as it wants to keep on coming. Championship leader Scott Dixon isn't quite as happy as the thousands who are watching, as qualifying did not go to plan again. The four-time champion is forced to start mid-pack. That brought relief to title challenger Alexander Rossi, who's put the target firmly on Dixon's back. The California kid starts a lofty third in his first appearance here in Portland. While everyone will be chasing last week's winner at Gateway and current Indy 500 champ Will Power, the intense Aussie has found his mojo in the second half of this season and is on a roll. He knows he can still win this championship and starts from the pole today. Welcome to IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon, where we welcome you back to Portland and gear you up for a frantic 105 laps of the Portland International Raceway. And folks, we couldn't ask for a better day. It is beautiful here in the Pacific Northwest, mid-60s, light breeze, and it is a blue sky day to go racing. And that is what the championship contenders are racing for, the magnificent Astor Cup. Alexander Rossi's trying to put his name on there for the first time, for Will Power the second time, and where I'm standing here in the middle of that big crowd alongside Scott Dixon's car, well, Scott is trying to put his name on the Astor Cup for a record fifth time. There's only one driver who has more. But this man here knows that he's really up against it because time is running out. Yes, he boasts a pretty decent championship lead, but only two events left. Here today in Portland, and then in 2 weeks' time at the season finale, Sonoma, California. Two road courses, two permanent road courses left, but two very road courses at that. So the pressure is mounting on this guy. Let's show you the championship points because Scott does boast a 26-point championship lead. However, it has been steadily reducing. It's going the wrong way. Dixon does not want to see that because Rossi is starting to zero in, and so too is Will Power. There it is for you. Power is 67 back, and in fact all five of those drivers include Joseph Newgarden and Ryan Hunter-Reay on that page. All five are still mathematically in this championship hunt. So where are those championship five starting? We've already mentioned to you that Scott Dixon is mid-pack. To be specific, he's 11th. Rossi's third. Power on the pole. Joseph Newgarden, yes, it's another Team Penske front row sweep, and then Ryan Hunter-Reay is also in a solid position in fifth. So it's all to play for here today. But let's talk more about the championship leader with Kevin Lee. Kevo?
Yeah, and as noted, not an ideal starting position, but we've seen Scott Dixon win from further back than that. Well, the 26-point lead, here's my question. Is the approach any different than, say, if you needed to make up points in the championship?
We got to go, man. That's definitely not the ideal position. We kind of missed it there in qualifying as far as track position. We had a car come out, we kind of got off sequence, and by the time I tried to get after it, the front tires were just gone. So a little bit on our side mistake and just poor choice of where we placed out there. But I think the PNC car's been faster week. You know, we'll have to see how it is over a long stint. I think strategy is going to be pretty interesting with very big windows. You know, it's going to be pretty tough, I think, to try and do it on a two-stopper, like we saw some do it at Mid-Ohio. But with some caution, that could definitely be interesting. But I think everybody's really worried about turn one. You know, so that's going to be the one that we're going to have to try and get through. But you know, hopefully we can get that PNC Bank car right up there.
Mission number one: get through the festival chicane. That's Scott Dixon.
And Alexander Rossi is closing the gap to Scott Dixon. And Alex, today you have three teammates kind of working as blockers between you and Scott. How do you expect that to help you today?
Don't really think about it that way, honestly. I mean, the good thing is we're starting towards the front and ahead of Scott, so you know, hopefully we'll be out of the kind of the danger, risky zone going into turn one, because obviously that's a topic of conversation. We don't really know how it's going to play out. So the farther up you are, the better it's going to be for you.
We normally see some pretty bold and aggressive moves from you on track. Do you expect that to kind of calm down today with Scott so far behind you?
No, I mean we got to still try and win races, and obviously, yeah, you try and capitalize on the fact that he's starting behind us. But at the end of the day, Will's so strong, and he's going to be strong in Sonoma. So you know, you got to try and stay close to him at least, whether that's beating him or not. You got to stay in touch with him.
From the driver who hopes to win this year's championship to the reigning champ with Jan.
And of course, Joseph Newgarden and his championship hopes are still alive. but so are your teammates' willpower. So how does the team manage allowing you to go chase a championship and then also keeping Will Power's championship in mind?
Well, I mean, both of us are in a very similar position, so we've just got to take care of each other at the start. And I think we're going to race and try and win this race, both of us. You know, I mean, if Will wins it or if I win it, it's still a good day for Team Penske. But the big thing is getting through the start. That's sort of where, you know, the biggest opportunity to make a mistake is, or get caught up in something. I think if we can get cleanly through that, then both of us are just going to try and run hard and fast today. And we got two beautiful Verizon cars, so either one of us is going to be a good day.
If you get through those festival curves and then you get on a long run, you like your car on the Firestone primaries, the blacks. You think that'll be the tire of choice for a long run?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, you would think we would have done a lot of race running, especially with having Thursday, the whole day to test, but we haven't done a ton. I have a suspicion we've built a really good race car. The setup direction I went, I think, favors that more and was less favorable for a one lap on red attack. But I think our car is good on both tires. Certainly on black tires yesterday, I was really happy. So if we can convert that into strong race pace all throughout the race, I think we'll be just set. And Team Chevy's done a great job. I think we got a good engine to get it happen and make it happen today.
All right, Lee, and this is the 7th time he's been on the front row this season.
Jan, thanks very much. He's trying to defend the one. Joseph Newgarden knows what it's like, of course, to be the champion. He is the reigning champion. So too do these two gentlemen. IndyCar's odd couple, Paul Tracy, Townsend Bell, they're back. Speaking of championships, that's what's on the line for Scott Dixon, a 5th. But it really feels, Townsend, like the walls are closing in, doesn't it?
It does. You've heard of global warming. We've got championship warming here in IndyCar the second half of the season. That iceberg of a lead that Scott Dixon had going into Mid-Ohio has most definitely started to melt. Look at this. And Mid-Ohio, I have to circle that because that's the event where I would have thought, I'm sure Scott Dixon and his team would have thought that he would have come out with an even bigger lead based historically on how strong he is there. It didn't happen. And for Scott Dixon, he's got to be looking over his shoulder right now. He sees a Will Power who's on a tear, absolutely on a roll right now, and Alexander Rossi, who very much reminds me of Scott Dixon in terms of his capabilities. So it is all on the line here today.
So what's it like when you're trying to construct a championship run and you've got everybody after you?
Well, he's got to look at his competitors. Rossi's been on a tear all season long. He's had just a couple of bad races, but Power is streaky. He can go hot and he can go super cold. Right now, Power's red hot, so he's got to try to get through the first corner, and there could be carnage there.
And we're going to talk a lot about that a little later on in IndyCar Live. It is so good to be back here at Portland International Raceway. And look at that. The pictures tell the story. And this guy's raced here before, Will Power. He's pleased to be back. He's starting on the pole. We'll hear from him when we come back. Well, one driver who, of course, has not made the trip here to Portland, Oregon, is Robert Wickens, and just in front of the team's Arrow hospitality there for Sam Schmidt Motorsports, Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports, the Get Well Wickens hashtag. And Robbie, we're thinking of you, as is everybody. And folks at home, just to update you, and certainly erring on the more positive side of things, is that Robert has been transferred from Lehigh Valley Hospital in Pennsylvania to go a little closer to home, his home in Indianapolis, where he is at the IU Methodist Hospital and will undergo further surgeries on his lower extremities. So again, Robert, from all of us, we are wishing you all the best. We've changed locations. We are now in front of the pole sitter's car. That is Will Power, and in Paul Tracy's words just earlier, he has found his mojo. He is on a charge at the moment and starts on the pole for a record 54th time. There's only Mario Andretti ahead of him. So Will is on a streak of 3 podiums in a row, and the last win came just a week ago where he shone under the lights at Gateway.
The two championship leaders on the front row, IndyCar racing under the lights on the oval. It's go time from Gateway.
Will Power on the outside.
Whoa.
Big move.
We're yellow, we're yellow.
Damage to Bourdais, what a shame.
Back to green, Rossi makes a move on Joseph Newgarden, going for third.
Will Power and Alexander Rossi, the battle for second.
I don't know how he saved that, and somehow he kept that off the wall.
Will Power looking for the lead, and he's got it.
Ryan Hunter-Ray must have a problem.
Yellow, yellow.
No power to the car.
Brand new ball game here. Anybody saving?
180 is to get to the end.
There's no way. You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead, just go.
We know Rossi is a fuel savings master.
We need to save every drop we can. If we're going to win, this is our best shot.
Will Power putting Alexander Rossi a lap down.
Will Power, he's going to come in and get a splash.
And now Power has 16 laps at full fuel.
You're the leader now.
Will Power is back in control.
Will Power wins for the third time in 2018 and keeps his championship hopes alive. And Rossi hangs on for second in front of Scott Dixon.
Hell of a job there, Alex. That's how we win championships.
Great job, guys. We're still in this game. We're still in the championship.
Still in this championship. Will Power loves ovals now. He's conquered them and back on the pole for the 54th time, this time on a road course. Is there enough time? Are there enough points to win your second title?
Yes, absolutely. Mathematically, we have a shot, a realistic shot, actually. Obviously, today is super important. Have to finish ahead of Rossi and Dixon, and really need to win. Really do. Like, that would give us a good shot at Sonoma.
How much are you watching what the others are doing in the championship in this race?
Yeah, look, if we're in a position where it doesn't look like we're not going to win or get the result we need, we will take a big risk on strategy, and we will be watching those guys and seeing what strategy they're on. So, yes, but we're going to be aggressive and see what we can do.
The pole sitter about to be introduced here at Portland. That is Will Power.
And Kevo, we can follow Will all day long by going inside IndyCar all season long. Download IndyCar Mobile exclusively from Verizon, America's best streaming network. Will carries the Verizon streaming onboard camera today. And let's continue this discussion with Townsend Bell and Paul Tracy about Will Power, because, Paul, as we discuss, whether it be on air or off air, and people say right here in pit lane in the paddock, Will Power as a competitor has some of the most intense eyes you've ever seen on any athlete in any sport, and he's got the eyes on right now.
Oh, absolutely. His confidence right now is sky high. He's just coming off 2 great events, but this is the danger zone, and going into turn 1, anything can happen. He's got his teammate beside him, which is good, and I think if they make a slow start, that's going to create trouble. I look for those guys to check out and try to spread it out.
So everybody's talking about Power, and I don't think at the moment perhaps people are talking enough about Joseph Newgarden, the reigning champion. Is that fair?
I think it's fair, because Joseph Newgarden said yesterday after qualifying that he thinks he has a better race car than his teammate Will Power. He felt Power was better set up for qualifying for that one fast lap. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see what does Roger Penske to do with those 2 horses at the front. If Power gets a great start, Newgarden's held up, maybe Newgarden factors into the championship somehow. He's never forced his guys to race for points for each other. He's let them go, but we'll see what happens today. Newgarden for sure is fast.
Still plenty of points on offer, because don't forget Sonoma has double points. So on a regular weekend, 54 points are available. 50 for the win, 4 bonus points, of which Will Power's already got 1 for pole today. So then at Sonoma, you can add that to be 100 plus the bonus 4 points. So there's still a lot on offer, a lot to play for. To Townsend's point, that's why Joseph still feels pretty positive. Let's join Jan Beekes now with a Firestone tech tip. Jan, take us away.
And for Lee, there's a lot of technology at play when Firestone needs to come and determine what kind of tire are we going to bring to a new venue or one that has been resurfaced. Well, they have a lot of assets at play, and here's one that's pretty cool. A laser scanner that is rolled across the racetrack known as LiDAR. So a LiDAR scan, they do this pre- and post-race at every event. Here's what it gives you. This is turn number 7, and this red here, that gives you a magnified view of the top surface of the asphalt. In blue shows you any of the crevices that are there. Now, because this is a brand newly resurfaced track, they actually took asphalt plugs, analyzed them back in Akron, Ohio, and decided, hey, this is very similar to Mid-Ohio. So not surprisingly, Mid-Ohio primary Firestones and alternates. But there's one thing a LiDAR scan won't tell you. Once you get out on track, does the track rubber up and increase grip? That is the case here in Portland. Will Power said, the way this is getting grip, I think this is going to become the highest grip racetrack of the whole calendar. Lee?
Thanks, Jan. Fascinating stuff. And, of course, Firestone is the official tire of the Verizon IndyCar Series. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone. And coming up next on IndyCar Live, it's time to have a little bit of fun with a serious angle. Yes, it's Butterball's What You Cookin', and it's the final. A winner will be decided. Well, this season saw the debut of a new and fun competition with a charitable edge. It's Butterball's What You Cooking. 6 drivers showed their prowess in the kitchen, and the highest 2 scoring ones from previous rounds come into today's final for $25,000 going to the charity of their choice. And as you just saw, the 2 finalists are Marco Andretti and Joseph Newgarden. The boys just shared with us, by the way, they're a little bit nervous here in the Verizon Up members deck because, guys, it all comes down to today. Now, Paul and myself and Townsend have not been involved in the judging thus far, but we're about to be now. PT, let's go. We've got Marco's here on the right. A little bit of European flair there with the, what's on it again? There's Gruyere cheese. What else?
Truffle.
The truffle and the turkey bacon, the butterball turkey bacon. And then Joseph's is a little bit of southern flair, okay, from Tennessee. So.
Okay, well, I paid particular attention to the food prep, the presentation. It's not all about just today, so I've done my homework. I've watched both of you guys at home in the kitchen, so I'm going to give it a go.
So Paul's taking everything into account. Now, you're going for a championship. How do you deal with the pressure of this live taste test moments before you're about to go off for the green flag?
As you know, it's all about confidence, Townsend. This could be a huge blow to my confidence today if I lose this. So we'll see. I know Marco brings it. You know, I've been to his kitchen. He can cook it up. I don't know about this burger right now. It looks a bit greasy. I mean, if these guys like greasy burgers, then maybe he'll win. But I'm confident in my choice.
Marco, you went full European flair. You brought the truffle, the Gruyere cheese. Everybody wants to know, though, is that really your house from the episode?
It's my house. It's my kitchen. I don't know how often I use it. But I have to ask you, who eats a burger to be healthy? Not me.
Well, I'm like a hybrid. You know, It's 2018. It's a healthy, bad burger. It's both.
Your go.
I'm going to taste.
Have to say, great job from both guys. Really good job from both guys. So Townsend's going to formulate his opinion from either Joseph's or Marco's, and then we're all going to vote to determine who will get it. Well, I think I have to say, well done to both of you, first of all. Being an Aussie, being from down south, I'm kind of favourite to barbecue sauce, so you're going to get my vote. No hard feelings. No hard feelings. So Joseph gets mine. How about you, PT?
I tell you what, these burgers, both of them are so good and so equal. They're like a tied on lap time, but I think Marco's checkered flag plates really put it over the top for the presentation at home. I'm giving Marco the nod.
So it all comes down to you, T-Bell.
You guys ready for this?
Yeah. We'll excuse you eating with your mouth full. It's all right. Keep going.
So, Joseph, the sweet tanginess, there's a comforting level to that southern charm. Really delicious. Marco, the brioche with the truffle. But, man, when you threw that butterball turkey bacon, that put me over the top. I'm going with Marco Andretti for the winner of What You Cookin' and the check.
Chef Jay, the check and the second prize.
$25,000 thanks to Butterball. Marco, congratulations.
The Sam Schmidt Foundation, which of course benefits Robert Wickens. So we congratulate Joseph. You won't go home empty-handed. PT, give him your special mug there. So you get a PT Racing mug.
Look at that thing.
Mug.com.
Congratulations to Marco. In fact, congratulations to all of the competitors. It was in good spirit. And again, $25,000 going to a great cause. That was Butterball's What You Cookin' for the first season. Coming up, the Command just minutes away. Every track likes to boast its on a roll of winners, but how about the ones here at Portland International Raceway? Some of the biggest names in IndyCar history, and they've been multiple-time winners, like Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr., Mario Andretti, Gilles de Ferran. This one did escape our Paul Tracy, though, and Townsend Bell. Sebastian Bourdais, the most recent winner. And again, for those of you just joining us here on IndyCar Live, what a weekend it has been. The sports return for the first time in 11 years to Portland International Raceway. And it really has been quite the weekend. And half this grid is cleared, by the way. There is quite the crowd here as we welcome you back. It's almost time to go racing. Townsend, one thing on my mind, and always over the years, and you guys know it as racers here, the festival curves as you head down this front straight, turn 1, 2, and almost 3. It's a real hot spot. So I'm thinking about Scott Dixon back in 11th position. Does he attack or does he try and just gingerly make his way through there?
Well, Scott Dixon knows better than anyone that he has to be very precise and clear decision-making when he gets down to turn 1, because it's the craziest first corner on our whole schedule. We've seen lots of chaos in the past. Look at this, all the way back in 98, Greg Moore climbing over the top of the back of Michael Andretti, and then some kind of green car there. Was that Dario Franchitti, or who was that?
No, that was me getting into the action.
There you go. There he is, trying to explain himself to the chief steward. But the way to avoid chaos, guys, watch this orange and white car.
Who's in that one, PT?
A clever guy. He was faking to the inside, and then he just said, you know what, I've got a 100% chance of making it.
I think you had no plan at all to go through there, but look at the mess behind him. So that is what can happen. And this was this morning. Indy lights, 6 wide, 7 cars in the field. Bang! Colton Herta gets spun around, and watch this. I'm going straight on, motocross style, takes off the front wing. So unbelievable what can happen here in the first corner.
So is the message there from that, if you're in trouble, floor it?
Absolutely.
Apparently. I think that was Dalton Kellett just flat out pinned it through the barriers.
Oh, boy, but we make light of it, but expect it, because it's a real key spot here at Portland International Raceway, the festival curves. I think we're in for a great race. The drivers are talking about increased grip levels, the speeds are higher, the track record's been broken. I mean, it's all to play for, and only 2 races left in this championship. There's a lot to be excited about.
There really is, and watch this 27 Napa car of Alexander Rossi. He has been angry fast all season. His eyes are on the prize.
You think so, PT?
Oh, I think he's going forward in the first corner. The energy here at the track is electric. He's been on fire all year. I say he's going to go after it in the first corner and try to get right on bumper's bumper.
So the grid has been cleared and the drivers have just stepped into their cars. Thanks so much for watching IndyCar Live, presented by Verizon. We've got a beautiful day here in the Pacific Northwest. When we come back, it's time to bring the action. It's time to go racing IndyCar style. 3 races ago, Scott Dixon had a comfortable championship lead, and it looked like the 4-time series champ was on his way to an historic 5th title. But the Verizon IndyCar Series is fickle that way, because even with 3 top 5 finishes in the 3 races that followed, Dixon has seen his points lead cut by more than half, courtesy of Alexander Rossi. The Californian, who only 3 years ago was searching for his identity in F1, found it in IndyCar and is fighting to add a championship to his resume in this series, one that already includes an Indianapolis 500 victory. And when it comes to the 500, don't count out this year's winner, Will Power, who with his win last week at Gateway has put himself within striking distance of a 2nd overall title. 2 races to go, and today IndyCar returns to an old friend, Portland International Raceway, for the first time in 11 years. This track has seen the 2 closest road course finishes in IndyCar history. Mario Andretti over Sun Michael in 1986, and Mark Blundell with a 3-wide finish in 97. Don't be surprised if a battle of inches today plays a major role in determining the 2018 Verizon IndyCar champion. There's nothing like feeling welcome, and the fans' response to the IndyCar drivers and teams and everybody has been thank you for bringing IndyCar racing back to the Pacific Northwest. As well, we welcome you to the second to last event of this 2018 season. It's Verizon IndyCar Series racing from Portland International Raceway. Time now to go trackside for the command.
Portland race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Please welcome head coach for your Portland Trail Blazers, Terry Stotts, to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Now time to go, 2 to go for the championship. Scott Dixon is documented, starts back in 11th. This is Alexander Rossi, his closest contender, starting in the 2nd row. Big key for both is some blockers. Now they won't be actually blocking, but the Andretti teammates right behind, and then Marco Andretti is right in front. So 3 Andrettis between Scott Dixon to try to get up to Alexander Rossi, Jan.
And Kevin, they are just about to tackle one of the trickiest starts of the season. You approach here at 175 miles an hour and then get it down to 50. When you slam on the brakes, that starts the accordion effect. Now think of Scott Dixon. He's buried in the middle of the field, and you sit low. Look at this perspective. You only see a row or 2 ahead. Now, they do have spotters up in the grandstands, but for Scott Dixon, he is going to have to play this on his own because things happen too fast. Now, my assignment, to stay here for the next 2 laps. Well, behind the barrier, this will be one of the best seats in the house.
Oh, that's a fantastic view, Jan. Absolutely fantastic. And it's flat, and it doesn't look all that scary, but that is the hot spot on this just under 2-mile Portland International Raceway. And speaking of this track, let's take a closer look with Townsend Bell and Paul Tracy. Take it away, guys.
Well, Portland is a beautiful place to race. It's flowy. It's got a high-speed straightaway with a heavy brake zone, as Jan just talked about. A great place to make moves. and an even better place to make problems and make disaster happen. We'll be watching that closely here in just a few minutes. Now, this is a great part of the track, Paul. 9 and 10, very fast chicane that you've got to get through, and 12 is important for next.
Yeah, most important corner on the track is 11, 12. You've got to get the power down one time and get down that drag strip.
We had a chance to go for a lap and look at the new configuration in 6 and 7. All right, Paul, great to be back here in Portland.
Here we are going into the festival chicane, all over those curves.
Taking as much as they'll give us. This section right here is all flow.
This was my worst section that I did not like on this track. I could never get this triple right-hander right. I always had a lot of understeer and just lacked grip. And these guys are really hustling these cars around here this year. Here's the new corner that's super wide that leads onto the back straightaway. Huge braking opportunity for these guys to sneak it down the inside on a hot lap or a qualifying lap. And I'll tell you what, the curbs are totally different now from the last time I was here. As we come up to the fast chicane back here, you cannot ride all over the curves. You just drop wheels in the dirt. And the track has been really, really dirty down here, Townsend. So just be careful.
Let's see what we can get away with here. We saw Bourdais lose at practice, late on the brakes, eyes up, gonna take some, whoa! Trying to gather it up. Now this is the key right here. You gotta nurse it down to the apex and one time on the throttle for the exit to get a good run down the front straightaway. I could do this all day long.
And it's going at a slightly different speed to what we see the IndyCars. The 25, yes, it's a packed grid, 25 IndyCars here today, as we want to show you where your favorite driver is lining up, but we need to make that key point again. Will Power, 4th pole of the year, but more importantly, 54th pole of his career. He is the 2nd best pole sitter of all time.
He is freaky fast, and there are so many guys in these first 6 rows that have a chance. Look at Scott Dixon. What kind of decisions will he make in the first corner, the first lap?
So we see Marco Andretti, the winner of What You Cookin' right there. He's looking to move forward. He's had a great weekend, and the rookie, Santino Ferrucci, he's been quick all weekend, so watch out for him.
Comes over from European F2 racing back home, the youngster from Connecticut, looking a little further back, and it's been a troublesome weekend to say the least for car 22, row 11, Simon Pagenaud. Frustrated is an understatement. And as we go back to Charlie Kimball in the Carlin entry, we'll be looking to work his way through. It's going to be a tough day for the Californian. Want to walk you through and show you a little preview of what we're going to bring you today. The championship leader, Scott Dixon, courtesy of PNC Bank, will give us this view. And Scott has raced here before, so too is this man, Graham Rahal, has the one cure on board in the Rahal Letterman Lanigan Honda. How about James Hinchcliffe? He said he was immensely proud of the team doing a great job with the car. He had limited laps and qualified 7th. That's the Lucas Oil view. Zach Veach has been a highlighted driver this weekend. Shows a lot of bravery and a lot of speed. That's the Group 1001 on board car 26 for Andretti Autosport, and his teammate is Alexander Rossi carrying the Verizon camera. There is the Verizon streaming camera, and that is, of course, on board the man with a clear view ahead, all but the pace car, and that is Will Power. He's carrying the Verizon streaming camera, and you can go inside IndyCar all season long by downloading IndyCar Mobile exclusively from Verizon, America's best streaming network. And we want to say happy Labor Day weekend. There has been some hard labor going on here this weekend, especially with Sebastian Bourdais. Check out this. This was in practice 3. He had just set the fastest time, and then this.
It's a savage crash into the tires. They had a damaged gearbox, floor, under tray, side pod, suspension, and they worked their butts off to get it out in qualifying.
And then Seb wanted to say a big thank you to his team for the incredible work that they did to get him back out there and then qualify on the 2nd row of the grid. How about working hard is Tony Kanaan. Today is TK's 299th consecutive start, and to finish the season off in 2 weeks at Sonoma, it will be his 300th, of course. Now, a labour of love goes to not only Tony, but his wife Lauren, who gave birth to their beautiful daughter Nina, and that is the Kanaan's 4th child, which is fantastic. Hats off and a great job, we should say, to this crowd here in Portland, Oregon, and an amazing response and welcoming feel here in the sunny Pacific Northwest. Try not to laugh when I say that, but it has been beautiful weather here recently. It is again an all-Team Penske front row. Will Power on the pole. Championship contender and challenger Joseph Newgarden on the outside. Remember the festival curves. IndyCar racing is back in the Pacific Northwest. Great start, Alexander Rossi. He's already up to second. Here comes Hunter Ray in the yellow car. So the Andretti boys are trying to get through. Will everybody get through is the question to be answered.
What a jump by Power. Pagano having trouble in the back. The guys are bailing through the chicane. Where will they come out?
Oh, no!
Dixon. That's no good.
Dixon's in the middle of that.
Car upside down. Andretti, I think.
Scott Dixon is in the middle of that mess. No, it's not. It's Ed Jones. No, Dixon is. He's off to the side. Oh, no.
That car that came, I think, filing out of the chicane where he took the bail off, caused that a stack up on everybody. We'll get an overhead view of that again, and a good view, but I think the cars that took the bailout, Townsend, just came out into traffic and just caused a melee.
I think that's Marco Andretti.
It is
upside down.
It is. Dixon kept his car running. He's now got it in reverse, trying to get it going as they try to turn over Marco Andretti to get him out.
He's going to come around the other nose of the car if he can. I don't know if he can squeeze between those two.
Graham Rahal is the other car.
There he goes.
Dixon's going.
He won't lose a lap. What a man he is.
Nice to see Marco moving in the cockpit there.
And the AMR safety team doing an amazing job just to bring that car down gently. So Ed Jones, Marco Andretti, Graham Rahal, and all drivers giving the thumbs up. And what a lucky escape.
How about Scott Dixon? How does he keep his car running? And we'll have to see if there's any damage. That's a great sign. Look at this. Dixon with minimal damage. That is a huge, huge break for Scott Dixon.
This could be the defining moment in the championship. They say you never count Scott Dixon out. Time and again, he qualifies outside the top 10 and races to a podium. And he's in the middle of one of the biggest crashes and messes you've ever seen and drives out of it.
And the only one that came out of it with the ability to continue. You see several cars take the exit. Dixon's on the outside in the back there, nowhere to go.
Oh. Andretti went right over the top of James Hinchcliffe.
I want to see how this started, Paul.
Yeah, I think Hinchcliffe lost it in front of the field. He got loose coming out of that kink and lost it, and then everybody just piled right into the back of him. It's single lane as you come out. But look at this. Here's an in-car. We'll get a good view here.
On board Dixon.
Comes out on the power. Can't even see so much. How does he not hit anybody?
Unbelievable. Still curious what kicked this off.
This is Hinchcliffe, and we think this is the car that went sideways that was the catalyst for it.
Still out there. All right, you're clear through.
It's got Zach Veach. Veach is squeezing him.
He was all over the curb and just tried to ride the curb out. Look at Marco's car goes over the top, but he tried to ride up on that curb. Veach was ahead and had the line, and he tried to go too wide with him over the curb, and it wasn't working.
View from Graham Rahal's car. Have a listen. Oh, wow. In the middle of an Arizona sandstorm like. Watch Andretti. Backwards and up and over.
He was flying flat, and then his car basically did a little kick off of the roll bar of Hinch, and that's what turned him upside down. See the camera.
Bent suspension on the back, so he's done. Roll bar is broken. They won't allow the car to run even if they fix it with the roll bar broken.
Oh, well, we did flag it to say the festival curves are a hot spot here. Now, if you look at the points as they run right now, for the first time in some 8 races, there would be a new championship leader, but we're only just getting going, and this is what caused this unbelievable wreck. As we welcome you back to Portland International Raceway, running behind the safety car, the pace car, under yellow here after the most extraordinary crash you have seen on the opening lap. And our man there, if you look down inside turn 1, Jan Beekers, who gave his pre-race report, you had a front row seat there, mate, to that one.
I did. Well, I had a front row seat, first of all, as they file through here behind the pace car. But the incident actually happened. They were well behaved here. You saw the 3 cars that took avoiding action and went through the cut through. But the problem was the exit of the festival chicane. That is obviously where you can go and build more of those positions. And that was some hard fought dueling at the exit of this complex. Boy, that was a hairy-looking wreck from where I was standing. Thankfully, Katie, everyone was okay.
And that includes Marco Andretti. I'm standing here next to him, and he's got dirt all down the back of his neck. Marco, first of all, are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I was really lucky that when my head was on the ground that nobody else hit me, because that would have been bad. But yeah, it looked like the seas were about to part for me, and as soon as I backed off for Hinch's spin, I think Graham got into the back of me. So at least that's what we discussed, because he didn't see Hinch spin and I did. So I kind of, when I backed off, he got into me. But I almost thought we were going to make it through Portland turn one, which we did. It was turn 2 though.
It's certainly good to see that everybody's okay, Kevin.
Well, Scott Dixon came in and just pitted. Despite all of that, what appeared to be contact, it was lost in the dust. No damage to the car other than the radio antenna is missing, so they're struggling with communication. They can only hear him in certain sections, so they came in, topped off, changed to primary black tires, so Dixon still has a fight in this race. Will Power is the leader under caution for Portland.
Gorgeous day here in Portland as we get ready to really start the race for real, so to speak, after this incident. James Hinchcliffe and Zach Veach were fighting over the same piece of territory. Around goes James Hinchcliffe in his Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports car. Marco Andretti goes around and over. And in the middle of that massive dust cloud, championship leader Scott Dixon, he's alongside his teammate Ed Jones in that very wounded NTT Data car. Jones is out. Dixon is still in. Extraordinary scenes here at Portland International Raceway. That's the damage after the contact between Zach Veach and James Hinchcliffe. All right, ready to go back racing here. And Will Power will see the green first onto the main straight. And let's hope everybody gets through the festival curves cleanly. Jordan King with a move on fellow British driver Jack Harvey. Inside at turn 1, cleanly done.
A lot of damage to the under tray and floor of Zach Veach's car. We'll see how he handles, but guys get through here clean. There's Pagano starting way in the back. He's got to move forward, but watch out. Dixon's not out of this till the checkered flag drops, so tune in.
Dixon is running back in 20th position. Let's take a ride.
Charlie Kimball in front of Dixon. And let's see what he does here. They've reconfigured the track now. This is brand new. It opens up. Does he dive in?
Oh, no, with Power. Power had an issue. It might have gone off the track, and he has just lost tons of places, 10, 12 places.
Is he back to speed? He is back to speed.
I think he's got some kind of a driveline issue because
Alexander Rossi is now in the lead. And look at this. He gets in, and something just shuts off, and it's dead stick.
This is a perfect day for Alexander Rossi. Listen. Gearbox. That's either a GCU.
It's in a false neutral.
Look at how fast he is on the full recycle switch. He got it going. It might have been a gearbox control unit, but for Alexander Rossi right now, a 14-point lead in the championship as they run, chased by his teammate, or in this case, protected by his teammates.
Protected by his teammates. He's got Veach still there with the wounded floor. Hunter Ray needs a good result, so he's going to just play the game here. But now you're looking at the fuel mileage master leading on the West Coast.
And Joseph Newgarden is running in third. Keep an eye out, too, for Jordan King and Jack Harvey running in fifth and sixth. But time now to hear from a driver who is out of this race, Ed Jones with Robin Miller.
Good news, Lee. Ed Jones is okay, but he had a close call. Look at this helmet. Ed, just talk us through what you think happened.
Yeah, you know, obviously the big crash there. It looked like Veach and Hinch were side by side in turn 2, and Veach just turned into Hinch like no one was there, gave him no room, and caused a huge shunt. So super frustrating. You know, I had nowhere to go. I hit Hinch, and then a car flew over me, and I think it just clipped my head. But you know, lucky no one was injured seriously. Obviously, Marco was upside down. Super frustrating because we had a strong car yesterday. I thought we could be up there in the race today. Yeah, that's just the way it is, but yeah.
We're glad you're all right. Jan?
And for Graham Rahal, he's anxious to see replays because there was so much dust, I imagine you couldn't really see what was happening in front.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't see anything. Obviously, I'm super disappointed for One Kier and all the effort they put in.
you know, and we're hoping for a really strong day. But yeah, I don't know what happened in front of us, but it was a cluster, and you know, clearly disappointed. We made it through turn 1 and 2. I thought, hey, clear sailing here, and all of a sudden, bam. So you know, disappointed. But yeah, obviously show me a replay, but out of the back of my car, so that doesn't do me any good. But you know, it sure looked, from what I'm told, from what I hear, you know, it sounds like Veach just put Hinch up on the curb, which is pretty unfair, as you could see Dixie doing behind us. You know, you can run too wide through there, no problem. So I'm disappointed. You know, a lot of guys driving very aggressively, which is okay, but got to give each other a little bit of room. But like I said, just frustrated, you know, for everybody. Oh yeah, Veach, I mean, come on now, give him some room. There's no room there at all. So it's just wrong. And then the officials take no action, which is very typical for our officiating crew, but very disappointing.
Thank you, Graham. So a very clear view there, even though his view was obstructed for Graham Rahal. Updating you, Scott Dixon is running 18th. Will Power back to speed. He's running at 11th.
Calling out the officials, Towns. It kind of sounds like PT back in the day, but that was like a racing deal. Those guys were racing hard, but first lap, cold tires. What do you think?
Well, I think everybody's climbing on Veach there, but I'm not sure Veach would have known Hinch was coming up on the outside rear. I don't think that would have been intentional. Certainly that'd be high risk to try to force a guy over intentionally. So listen, unfortunate, two guys going for the same spot, maybe one not knowing the other's there. And for Veach, luckily he seems to have decent speed, because there's pretty good damage to the right-hand side floor of Zach Veach's car.
Well, Rossi right now is looking like he's doing a mid-Ohio all over again. He's running faster laps than everybody, and he's saving fuel. He's out to a 3-second lead as his teammate here, Hunter Ray, is trying to hold off the series champion, Joseph Newgarden. There's Veach with the damaged floor.
And look who's behind Veach. It's the number 20 Fuzzy's Vodka Chevrolet of Jordan King, doing a super job. His first race here. He's on those red tires, the softer compound, doing the chasing, and he's hanging with Zach Veach. He's pulled away slightly from Jack Harvey.
Important to point out, you know, Hunter Ray on the blacks. He's the only one in the top 6 right now running black. So if the red tire is the tire of choice, then Hunter Ray could be in a sweet situation to close this race. If he's able to hold off these guys with Newgarden, Veach, and King, he's going to be sitting pretty.
Behind King is Jack Harvey for the Meyer Shank team. We go a few positions further back. This is Will Power in 11th as we take a ride. Jan, update us.
Yes, and while you take a ride, we can listen to some of the shifts. Will believes during radio communication, he thinks it's first gear. First gear obviously is one that you can avoid. He says he thinks that the trouble started to come when there was a start and restart. So at the moment, he seems to be keeping pace. We listen to those shifts, and if that's the case, first gear, of all gears that you could avoid, that's one that'll work until it's time to make a pit stop.
And he's on full fuel save mode, just coasting into the corners. That's the only way, Townsend, that he's going to have a chance, is go on super save.
When he does that, it widens up the strategy. That's what we saw. There's Pietro Fittipaldi taking an early stop in the 19 car. We saw his teammate Sebastian Bourdais top up under the long yellow. So Dale Coyne getting clever early, as he often does with strategy with his two drivers.
Well, let's watch the throttle, listen to the sound here down the back straightaway, and you'll hear how you save fuel.
Here it comes.
Never touched the throttle through the chicane. He just glided all the way through and then downshifted for the last corner. You'll hear him here back out way early. He's got a little bit of run, so he might try for a pass.
He's on push to pass, so he's burning more gas right now, Paul. He's going to outbrake Gabby Chavez. Nicely played. Reminds me so much of Monza, turn 1 and 2 here. I mean,
he ran wide again. He had another problem with the gear coming off the corner. That's a first gear corner, so he came out of there and it wouldn't go again. And Gabby Chavez just went right back by him again. So he still has gearbox problems.
And he had to defend from Matthias Leist in AJ Foyt Racing colors. Got some radio for you from the Verizon Chevrolet from Will Power. Let's have a listen.
Just don't use first, just use second.
Yeah, copy, that's what I'm doing.
Do the best you can there. It's better to stay out using second, thanks.
That's the voice of Roger Penske.
So second gear Townsend off that corner is probably too long of a gear, and it just won't pull off the corner.
Well, especially with a turbo motor, as you know, you get too low in the revs on this thing, it's just going to bog. That might be what happened with Chavez, is that he had to get even slower to complete the pass and well down. Let's listen here. Yeah, look at how he loses off the corner, Paul. He lost 2 car lengths to Chavez just getting on the throttle there.
Meanwhile, up the front of the pack, Alexander Rossi, this man here in the Napa Honda, boasts a 3.5-second lead for Andretti Autosport over his teammate Ryan Hunter-Reay. And then it's Joseph Newgarden, but at the moment they're all chasing, as it stands right now, the new championship leader. Spectacular day here to go racing on IndyCar's return to Portland, mid-60s, and we are surrounded by natural beauty. About 16 miles north of Portland, and the Columbia River there in the background. It is quite the scene, and Portland has certainly made the Verizon IndyCar Series feel welcome. As we say, welcome back. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy with you as we go to pit lane. And Kevin Lee, what do you got, Kev?
Diff, there was at least one more car that took some damage at the start of this race. Up ahead just a little bit. Watch Sebastian Bourdais starting fourth. Obviously, he lost some spots right at the start of the race, and he had some damage to the front wing. So they came in on lap 4, changed the front wing, and then we also saw him come in and top off as well. So Bourdais is one of those thinking about a 2-stop strategy. I also know this, Scott Dixon is saving fuel, thinking about doing it on 2 stops, Katie.
And Kevin, that 26 of Zach Veach is going to need a lot of repairs when he comes in for his first pit stop. The team is calling for bare bond, sawzall, anything they can find to try to repair that under tray on this first pit stop. And Zach Veach just came over the radio and said, guys, I am just trying to hang on to salvage anything I can out of this race today.
Well, we got some guys, Townsend, as we see Hinchcliffe come out of the pits just in front of the field. These guys are trying to do a 2-stopper, but here's the angle of the crash with Hinch. He comes through the festival chicane. He's side by side with Veach.
You're clear for it.
He's not side by side though.
Well, he's kind of at his side pot there. Veach turns in, he's on the curb, and then boom, it all starts.
At no point though was Veach ever side by side where he would know Hinch was there unless he had a spotter telling him.
Guys now are going off strategy. They're going to do a 3-stopper. We know Dixon is going to try to 2. We know, as we see Piggott leaving, we know that Bourdais is going to try to do a 2. And I will guarantee you that Rossi's going to do a 2 because he is the guy who right now is the best at fuel mileage.
And Spencer Piggott coming in for that first stop. By the way, we were remiss to mention that both Ed Carpenter Racing Fuzzies Chevrolets were running well and truly in the top 6-7. Very good start for that team. Productive start over the first 20 laps of this race that was punctuated by that pretty wild crash on the opening lap. But this is Rossi. This is Alexander Rossi. There is no other driver carrying the hottest form into this second-to-last race like Rossi. 2 wins and a podium, 3 in a row. And I mean, his momentum right now, he is in the sweetest spot of his career. Talking about a guy who came out of the GP3 and GP2, now F2 ranks, and won races in both, but came and found his home back in his native America. Won that 100th running of the Indianapolis 500, but it kind of irked him that people said, well, you won it on fuel mileage. Well, he's proving to everybody, all of the doubters, that he can't just win fuel mileage races. He wins races on aggression and intelligence and everything you need to be a top-flight IndyCar driver.
I've never seen a guy, Townsend, that is able to just come with so much fire and so much aggression, but then like last week, shut it all off and stay calm and let cars go by and maintain a second-place finish.
But, Paul, that's not today. Listen here.
Good lap time to gap in the field. Just
Rossi is going flat chat, Paul. You hear Rob Edwards give him the lap time updates. This is the difference. This is exactly your point. Last week, it was like he was whittling with his knife, a little stick. This week, he's going to kill the bear with that same knife. He has the wide spectrum of ability in the toolbox, and Alexander Rossi's in full kill mode today.
Let's have a listen to some Rossi radio. Here it is.
Keep pushing. We're going Long Beach style, but look after your tyres.
And Long Beach style was from pole to victory lane, and he dominated that race. And
And I think we'll see Rossi pitting probably around lap 31, 32. He's burning full fuel. He's definitely on a three-stopper at this point.
I love the way Rod Edwards coaches Rossi through these races. How he's just calm and knows when to push the driver to tell him to go and when to go slow.
And there, you know, when you hear a guy on the stand talking, we looking at Max Chilton here, looking at his lap times. When you're a guy on the stand using terms like Long Beach mode, that tells you that they're...
Nice job, Max. Looking at 4 more laps.
4 more laps tells the pit stop for Chilton. Looking at Gabby Chavez here, just talking about chemistry. Gabby Chavez has that going with his engineer as well. It's this point in the season, Lee, that you really see things start to mesh.
And let's not forget the car that we were looking at, the Gallagher Chevrolet of Max Chilton. Now, it hasn't been the best weekend for the Carlin crew. However, Chilton is making up for it right now, doing a good job ahead of Chavez. Chilton's running in 6th. Here is the British driver, doing a really nice job. Spoke with Trevor Carlin, the team principal, a little earlier. It has been kind of, to use an Americanism, drinking from a fire hose this year for Carlin, and he said, I just need time to kind of, let's get all of our ducks in a row. There's a couple of key personnel that he's chasing in the paddock, and he said, I just need about 4 good months with the car, and we're going to be ready for that 2019 season. Chavez and the Harding Racing Group, they've done a nice job. Tell us more, Robin.
The most thing about Gabby is he's making the most of his situation, and I think the other thing you have to think about is what's going to happen next year with this team. Are they going to run 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars? It hadn't been decided yet. So for Chavez, this is probably a little bit of it's a tough thing for him, because what he can't figure out right now is he going to be part of this team next year? He hopes he is. He started with them. He's never had really a lot of teammates and support. So the most important thing for him is get a good finish and keep plugging, because like Brian Hurta said when he gave him his ride as a rookie, this kid's a hell of a race driver. We just need to get him a good teammate someday. And the schedule, we're going to talk about the schedule. Tuesday, the schedule comes out. We've been saying for the last couple of months that COTA's going to be on it. There's going to be 17 races, and I think everybody's not surprised it's going to be COTA. It's probably going to be late March, early April, and it's going to take the place of Phoenix, one of the great road courses in the country. And I think these cars will put on a hell of a show there.
And again, for those of you who aren't familiar, COTA is Circuit of the Americas, and the announcement will be made on Tuesday. Speaking of things upcoming to look forward to, Fernando Alonso didn't do quite so well in today's Italian Grand Prix. He will test an IndyCar at Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. And then Patricio O'Ward, who clinched the Indy Lights Championship yesterday, he will test an IndyCar at Sonoma on Thursday. So plenty of stuff coming up. Season isn't even over yet. There's still plenty going on.
Certainly plenty going on in this race right now, as Zach Beach really starting to draw closer to the #1 car at Joseph Newgarden.
I mentioned that O'Ward won the Indy Lights. You know what that feels like, T-Bell. How about Rinus VK winning the Pro Mazda Championship, and Kyle Kirkwood, the young Floridian, winning the USF 2000 Championship? He just about won every race on the calendar this year. There are some talented young guys coming up through the ranks.
Paul, you and I both come up through this ladder system. You're a Lights champion. I won the Lights champion. And here's another young driver trying to make his way in IndyCar. That is Santino Ferrucci, 20 years old, driving a 3rd car for Dale Coyne Racing this weekend out of Connecticut, making his 3rd IndyCar start, and he's shown some impressive pace so far.
Absolutely. It was really fast on Thursday and Friday. Kind of didn't put it together in qualifying, but he avoided the drama at the start, and that's the first job. Katie, what's going on with TK?
Well, it's been a terrible season for TK, and even worse weekend. He qualified 24th on merit, but guys, he is up 12 positions so far, but a long stop for him there.
Well, that crash, that Lap 1 crash, not only took out Marco Andretti, Ed Jones, Graham Rahal, and put James Hinchcliffe many, many laps down, but it sort of really jumbled up the field. And listen, we have seen this time and again, and folks at home, I want to keep you up to date because it just keeps happening. Scott Dixon just clicks them off 1 position at a time. Dixon has worked his way already up to 13. We will monitor his progress. Simon Pagenaud is the next one on his list as we take a ride with Zach Beach.
Damage on the side pod, Townsend, so that car is damaged and probably is missing some underwing downforce. But Rossi right now has just come out right behind Kanaan, so let's hope that doesn't hold up his speed, that he's trying to lay down some laps. He's He's out to a 5.5 second lead right now.
And Rossi is on the button right now, using push to pass on this in lap. We understand his guys are laid out on pit lane. So Rossi and Rob Edwards know exactly what's needed to hold the lead here. Here it comes.
What's the speed opening?
Take it away, Kev.
Alexander Rossi maybe would have gone a couple of laps longer, not certain, but Tony Kanaan just pitted, came out in front of him, so that might have decided to come in a little bit early so they didn't get stuck in traffic. Carr's been pretty good, but he's been dealing with a little bit of understeer in some sections, oversteer in others, and they've really been concerned about the left front. Some trouble there, and a little bobble on the right front there. I think I saw, or at least maybe that was just the signboard. They got knocked down. No, good quick stop. Alexander Rossi, no problems, he's away.
Chavez in there. He's having a nice little run. See where he cycles out.
Was close with that rear left.
Chavez, engineered by Gerald Tyler. He gave me 2 pole-winning cars here in Indy Lights. Been around a long time. He knows what this track wants. He certainly knows what his driver wants as Hunter Ray becomes the leader on the Firestone Blacks. So we'll have to see what the lap time looks like, Paul.
We'll see if he comes right now. See if he's, because if it goes yellow, he's going to have a big problem. If one of these guys comes out of the pits, gets into another guy, you kind of hang yourself out.
Yeah, but Hunter Ray has clean air and maybe a little bit of an advantage on the harder tire this late in the stint. But it doesn't look like the other guys are having much of an issue going long on the Firestone Reds. So once Hunter Ray gets off these blacks, it'll be his advantage because everybody else that starts on Reds has to run the blacks at least once, Lee.
And at the moment, RHR, Captain America, is 115 points out of the lead. If you end today, arrive at Sonoma 105 points or more behind, you are no longer a championship contender. So Ryan will have to hope to try and get to victory lane today, Jan, and something happened to his competitors to remain a title hope.
Yes, that is true. And if you caught our qualifying coverage, you know that Ryan Hunter-Reay was so enthused after having a very difficult early start to the weekend. He took his hat off to, most importantly, his teammate, Zach Veach, for helping with the setup on this car. He has been very complimentary of Zach's skills in setting up a car and the data. And look at this. Joseph Newgarden, defending champion, is on his way to me. I did just check with the team and said, hey, what happened on that start? They say, we have no idea why he dropped back. He is now going for some scuffed red tires. So it's red to red for Joseph Newgarden. They said they will be making changes. And that was a nice quick stop for Joseph Newgarden. And there goes Rossi, flashing by the front straightaway.
Have to think here as Newgarden blends out. What happens to his teammate Will Power on a pit stop if first gear's not working? Here comes Dixon.
Rossi cycled out in 8th place as we see Dixon gets by, but he hasn't pitted yet. He pitted and took fuel, so he's got a little bit more fuel than these guys because he was in there trying to fix the radio and topping up. But right now, Rossi cycled out in 6th. He's running 6th, and we'll see where these guys pit if he keeps that lead on Hunter Ray, because Hunter Ray's ripping off some quick laps right now.
Well, the gap to watch, I think, is Dixon to Rossi. Currently at about 6 seconds. Dixon's going to have to make his pit stop, though. That's going to take about 25 seconds. So that's the gap with Veach coming in, Katie.
And remember, he was involved in that first lap incident. He went off, and I was expecting the team to repair that under tray with a lot of damage, but it doesn't look like that's something they're going to fix with an 8.4 second stop, guys.
If it ain't broke, or if it is broke, don't fix it if he's fast.
Yeah.
Zach Veach is turning the lap times.
But look at Jordan King all over the back of Zach Veach. That battle has been going on ever since the restart.
And Newgarden is part of this battle. There goes Newgarden.
These guys have been racing each other all race. Here comes Harvey. He was the first guy to pit. And
Harvey's going to run.
Tires. He's going to get by King right there. Woo. That shows you can go too wide through there, Townsend. And now he's going to have a look at Veach. He's on hot tires, and Veach is on cold.
That XM Sirius satellite radio car, the purple one you're looking at, Jack Harvey.
See if he goes for the big hairpin dive here. Look, he's got him lined up. Here he comes, watch.
One side to the other. It's 78 feet wide here, and Jack Harvey makes the most of it. Great call, PT.
Nice move.
That is exactly why they redesigned the track here at Portland, is to invite that opportunity. And Veach is going to come right back on them. They are both on push to pass.
You won't go too abreast through there. You won't do it around the outside. Somebody's off right there in the dirt.
Clear.
Jack Harvey is not a full-time driver in the Verizon IndyCar Series, nor is Meyer Shank Racing. They're in partnerships. It's a satellite operation with Schmidt-Peterson Racing. This is a really good run Fantastic effort for Mike Shank and his group. Meanwhile, Newgarden and Dixon are still going at it. Now Jordan King lines up for a shot at Zach Veach.
Zach Veach's car is damaged. He's got under tray damage, big hole. We don't really have a good shot of it, but there's a big gaping hole on the side of it, which will not help us downforce level.
This is Andretti Autosport versus Ed Carpenter Racing. Here comes Jordan King, switches to the inside. He wants a shot at him and gets him as well.
What a great addition to the track when they changed that corner up, and now it's giving a passing places. Here's Hunter Ray.
And while that's happening, the leader comes onto pit road. We've documented he was on the Firestone primaries. They get all the Sunoco they can get in there. They're going to wait for every last drop. That is a brand new set of alternates. You see Rossi clearly in the lead here, but he's going to have some great tires to try and close that gap.
Where you've seen those two passes executed over the last 2 laps with Jordan King and Jack Harvey, that section where Paul said this is good, this nice new section, guys, it used to be 30 feet wide. It's now 78 feet wide, and it's working.
And it's such a classic situation of the optimal line is setting up wide as Pagano leaves pit lane, setting up wide, getting a run, but to defend Paul, you then lose the ability of a good exit. So it's a really nice twist here at Portland, and congrats to the organizers for taking the plunge and repaving, reconfiguring. Pagano, though, he's kind of in no man's land this weekend.
He's having a terrible weekend. He's really been off the pace, and he's just languishing right now, back in 19th place. So really has not moved forward. When you look at guys like Bourdais and these guys and Dixon right here that had damage, they're already back up into the top 10. Dixon right now running 6th, and he was last.
Oh, look at this move from Joseph Newgarden. That was just a few moments ago. That's what it looked like for Dixon. Look to the right, look to the right.
Woohoo. Smart driving by Dixon, making sure he doesn't suffer any more misfortune in this race. You can already see the damage from the opening lap crash. Well, on the nose. Paul, he's running 6th right now, but he needs a yellow.
I'll tell you what,
he's going to have to pit and lose another 25 seconds to Rossi. He'll fall deep down in the field again.
His strategy right now, though, he's back in the points lead by 11 points. So do not count Scott Dixon out ever.
Can I add a but when you say he's going to lose another 25 seconds? But at least he's still in the race. His race almost ended at turn 3.
We're hearing there might be a penalty, and the 9 will go back in front of the 1, but the 1 is now about a second out on him.
Why?
So that's a hard thing to pull off. We don't know what the reason for that is.
What did the 1 do wrong? I don't understand.
Did something happen at some point of the track that we don't know?
He's slowing up, looking in his mirrors. Look,
he's waiting for Scott.
Waiting for Scott. He's trying to find the best place where he can let the car go by and not let Jack Harvey go by. He's going to try to file in here. Now he's got to jump back in line so Harvey doesn't get by.
Maybe it was for some kind of a block move that happened earlier.
Allegedly shortcutting the course, but where? Well, turn 1 wasn't a problem.
I did see a car go off in the dirt at the fast chicane. I saw dirt flying through the air.
Let's have a look.
Oh, he shortcut the chicane.
No, he didn't. Oh, there
he went off, and instead of going through, he went over those curbs that we were talking about.
And you're meant to re-enter to the left through the temporary chicane. See those barriers there? There is a temporary chicane there, and that's where you're meant to re-enter.
But that was not during the pass, was it?
I think maybe was that the lap after? I think that was the lap after.
Yeah, but all you have to do is give up any time advantage, not the position. Well, anyways, doesn't matter.
He's attacking. He's attacking again, and he's going to go for it again.
Protect behind.
So Dixon right now is on fuel saves, trying to do it on 2-stop. He can't really afford to fight with a guy that's doing a 3-stopper.
Well, Dixon did stop Paul on lap 4, so technically he would be a 3-stopper. He's trying to stretch it. I don't know, doesn't sound like he's saving much gas there. Dixon on the blacks, though, Newgarden on the reds. Newgarden will still have to run blacks at some point.
This is the race leader at the moment.
In this time.
But he is coming in. This is Will Power. You heard the voice of the captain, Roger Penske, who was just delighted with Will's victory last week in Gateway. Let's take it in.
Stay in second.
There you go. Stay in second, Roger Penske. That'll be really hard, Paul, to get away.
You're going to leave it in second gear with a clutch in. 3, 2, 1, easy.
All right, you're hearing the coaching.
Keep it running. Keep it running with a clutch in.
He's going to coach him All the way through this process, they're going to black. They're having a little bit of problem at the rear. And that burned out nicely in second gear.
Yeah, he has to keep the clutch in, and that's not a good situation because even with the clutch in and in gear, these cars want to turn the wheels over. So the guy on the rear had a problem getting the tire on, and that wasn't a very clean stop. It was almost a 9-second stop.
A lot of the engine mapping for pit launch is totally built around the first gear launch as well. So I wonder if they had to make an adjustment working with the Chevy engine tech down there to figure out how to achieve max torque so that you could get a burnout through second gear and not stall.
So Alexander Rossi resumes the lead of this.
Emergency mode off. Good stop.
That was it. They were in emergency mode. So very smart by Team Penske, recognizing all the issues he would face.
Here's Dixon pitted on lap 4, as you heard Townsend saying it's time to come in again. Here is Dixon. So pits from 5th, some 10 seconds behind race leader Alexander Rossi.
It looked like disaster with contact at the opening few corners of this race, but no damage for Scott Dixon other than the radio antenna. So technically they're working on a 3-stopper, as Townsend said, but really just 2 more stops. So after this, the plan is 1 more stop if they can make the fuel work. Stop Firestone Reds this time, a little wing adjustment, and Dixon back out.
And it flip-flops now. Dixon is now second in the points, 17 points behind Rossi. So as quick as you like, he goes from the lead back to second place, and that's how tight this championship is.
Because he's come back out down around 18th position. We'll give you that exactly in a moment. No need to guess where this guy is. Alexander Rossi, race leader. He's about 6 seconds ahead of Takuma Sato. Sato will be stopping momentarily. Well, eventually your luck has to run out as we welcome you back to the Verizon IndyCar Series race here in Portland. Scott Dixon was extremely fortunate on the opening lap to not suffer any damage to his car in that huge crash. However, he was just handed, as you may have seen during that break, a pit lane speed violation on pit exit, and he had to come through and serve that drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, Joseph Newgarden continues his charge, and the Silver Bullet rolls into second place ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Newgarden told us yesterday, he said, I think I've got a great car. His power is off.
Will Power in the tires.
Turn 12.
Hopefully we can get a replay of this. He's been having gearbox trouble all day. We've got a yellow now.
That really helps Scott Dixon.
Big time. Big time. Now, this is the 3rd crash this weekend we've seen here. Takuma Sato, Simon Pagenaud, and now Pagenaud's teammate Will Power. It's turn 12. The drivers have said it is relatively easy to do. It's a tricky turn. And this is how it happened to Will Power.
Take a look. Oh, he's way wide. He's way off the line. He's out in the runoff area there, which is the exit row for the drag strip. Sideways, locked up now on the curbs. And he just completely overcooked it through the chicane and then couldn't stop. It looks like right here for the corners. Way off the line, Townsend.
Well, once you get out there and you're offline, you're basically in hang-on mode the whole way. It looks like maybe something broke, but I don't think so. I think he was just out in the dirt, and the corner speed just exceeds the grip of the car. Here we go on board. Listen, it'd be off throttle the whole time. Trying to downshift anything to keep it on the island, as they say, but just too little too late.
So the 2 crashes that we saw, this is
at speed here. He just got way wide out into that runoff little section there and got sideways and then couldn't get it wound up for that corner. You got to remember, that's about 130 miles an hour in that section.
Car might be okay.
That was my point, because when Pagenaud crashed, the front end was fine.
Yeah,
the Sato's, it fell off.
The wing's broken right here. You see it flapping around.
Yeah, but he's at the back. He's going to have to pit anyways with the rest of the guys, so it might not be as bad as it could have been.
Just the 2nd caution of this race. The field will compress, and that will please Scott Dixon at the back of the pack. As we welcome you back, just the 2nd caution in today's race. Spencer Piggott, you can see, get service. Simon Pagenaud out. It's pretty frantic down on pit road, and the dramas continue for the poleman and championship hopeful. But today there's a big dent being put in Will Power's hopes.
Yeah, they've got the back wing off, Jan. It looks like they're going to do a gear stack change.
Well, they're going to look into the gearbox because after the incident, he did radio.
Front wing too here, somebody, while you're doing it.
And you heard Ryder Penske saying they're going to do the front wing, but he radioed and said he could not shift at all after making contact at the exit of turn number 12. So at the moment, it's damage control. Obviously, the front wing will go, but at the same time, they're going to work on the gearbox area, see if they can get him back to where he'll have gears at his disposal.
I wonder if having to pass through first gear, neutral, and then into reverse to get out of the tire wall, that caused the issue, because you can't get to reverse without going through first gear.
But let's go all the way back. He's had a brilliant weekend and started on the pole, got away to a great start, and it was after the restart that things went wrong. Things aren't going wrong for his teammate, though. Joseph Newgarden in second, chasing Alexander Rossi on this restart. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Jordan King, who's had a phenomenal day in that fuzzy Chevrolet, and then you go back to Zach Veach.
He's leaving that start late.
Green, green.
Green, green, green is the call. It's Rossi and Newgarden and Ryan Hunter-Reay, 3 championship hopefuls. Here we go. Matthias Leist is trying to go with Zach Veach a little further back. Good restart, Rossi.
Dixon looking up the inside.
Piggott.
Oh, that was
on the
close.
inside. Almost gets into the back of Fittipaldi's car, but no lockups. But that was a really late start by Rossi. I thought that Newgarden would have got a jump on him there, but he's starting to already pull away.
Look at that battle for third between the yellow car of Ryan Hunter-Reay, the DHL Honda, and then the black fuzzy Chevrolet. Jordan King, the young British driver who's done a stellar job. Come out of F2. This is Matthias Leist, the teenager from Brazil. He's working over Zach Veach.
Leist having a terrific day. He's on the same strategy as the leaders, but Paul, you cannot make a move outside there.
No, that is not happening. So it's single file through there. You got to watch all the dust. Look at Dixon. He's back here in the danger zone again. He's right behind Bourdais, who was involved in the first lap incident at turn 2. But look at Rossi leading the field ahead of the series champion, Newgarden, Hunter-Reay in tow, and how about King?
Yeah. Oh, look at Spencer Piggott. He is on the charge going around Gabby Chavez. Piggott, the first of the drivers to pit under that yellow, so that could be a really important factor as we get into the late stages of this race. Piggott at the front of that second strategy.
By the way, we're singing the praises of Jordan King. This is the sister car. He's Jordan King's teammate. So it's a great day for Ed Carpenter Racing.
For Ed Carpenter Racing, this is a big breath of fresh air. They haven't been particularly strong on a lot of the street and road courses this year, so this is a very strong run for the ECRT.
That yellow was negated Rossi's comfortable lead he had, and now, right now, it's a black tire to red tire battle. We know the reds are faster. Now they're up to 10th. Look at Newgarden. He's right on the back of Rossi. He's going to get a run right here.
Newgarden probably going to be on the button.
Check this out.
Rossi on the button, Newgarden on the button. Rossi knows he's got to hold him off on the blacks until he can get back on reds.
Joseph has been great here under brakes for the lead. Joseph Newgarden. Late on the brakes, straight to the lead.
I don't even think he used the brakes, Townsend. He brakes so late, and that's the power of these Firestone Reds, how much grip they have.
Look at that. Well, he had plenty of practice in that on Scott Dixon and then executed it, and Jordan King has maneuvered his way into third. How about that? This is the man who is managed, the driver who is managed by Mark Blundell, who won here at Portland International. Check this out. It's a double move. Newgarden on Rossi, King on Hunter-Reay.
Carbon copy at the same time. What a day Jordan King is having. Terrific run.
I bet that put a huge smile on the face of Mark Blundell, who's watching from Angley. Katie, what's going on over there with Carpenter?
Well, can you believe it, guys? This is actually Jordan King's first time back in the car for over a month, because it's been his strategist and team owner, Ed Carpenter, for the last 2 races, but it's taken no time at all for Jordan to get back up to speed.
No, he's really had a good weekend. You know, it was a good opportunity for him coming to Portland, because so many guys hadn't been here before, and even those that had, it had been a long time, and he really got comfortable here quick. The team's given both guys good cars, so it's good to see him getting a good run finally.
I kind of have to put you on the spot here, because since it is such a good day for both your guys, do you think they will be full-time next year, and maybe you'll get a third car out for yourself?
We're certainly working on all our options, but I'm definitely not retiring, as it's been reported by some. So we'll see what happens. I certainly love both Spencer and Jordan, and want to keep him at ECR.
Thanks, Ed.
Nice to hear that from the boss, Ed Carpenter. As we ride with Scott Dixon looking at Spencer Piggott, you're talking here about a little further back, 11th and 12th, and the way the points run now, this man we ride with has regained the top spot after Joseph Newgarden rocketed the Silver Bullet into the lead of this race, fast approaching halfway. What a move.
5 things you didn't know about me. Right, can I just get them in my head first? I still run athletics at a county level back in the UK. I love triathlons.
I'll be honest, I'm still learning about Jordan too. He hasn't been here very long, but he's pretty quiet. So I've got 2 quiet drivers on the team now with Jordan and Spencer. What is that, 3? Is that 3?
I have a sister who is older than me, and I've visited over 40 different countries around the world.
And we just mentioned a little earlier in the show, if you didn't know, yes, he's managed and given guidance by Mark Blundell, former F1 and IndyCar driver. And Mark was kind enough to send us a little note earlier today to just say he really wishes Jordan experiences the same level of success here at Portland International that Mark did in our Chevrolet driver profile. Mark still owns the closest finish at 0.02 of a second. That race that he won in that drag race, that 3-way drag race back in '97 here on the front straight at Portland. So Mark is back in the UK in his hometown of Royston, and he would be loving seeing what Jordan's doing today.
Well, rain certainly factored back then, Paul, but that's when Portland was a June race, I believe. These days we're in September, and it is dry as a bone, and I don't expect to see any rain today.
Joseph Newgarden leading by 6.5 seconds over Alexander Rossi, Jordan King third, and Ryan Hunter-Reay as we bring you up to speed with our race recap. Folks, if you weren't with us at the start, check this out. James Hinchcliffe goes sideways, around he goes, and check it out. Ray Hall into Andretti, Andretti over Ed Jones and Hinchcliffe, and goes upside down. Bourdais was involved, and in the middle of that incredible dust storm is Scott Dixon. This is how it went down.
Watch Hinch trying to squeeze up the inside. Veach not leaving any room, and a massive pile up. Andretti upside down. We ride on board with Dixon, and this is the miracle on dust.
It's amazing that he has the wherewithal to just slow it down and get stopped and not get any damage. But here on lap 8, we see Will Power has a gearbox issue, and that has hampered him all race long. And then later on here, another problem. Well, this is the same deal. No gears coming out of the corner. About 11 or 12 cars went by him.
And then Scott Dixon, after that miraculous escape in the opening lap crash, he came in for his second stop that was deemed to have exceeded the pit lane speed limit and had to do a drive-through penalty. And then Will Power, who was suffering with those gearbox issues, then had to endure this.
Loses it in the final corner, gets up in the marbles, then finds reverse. Able to keep going, but this might have been the move of the race so far.
How about double move of the race? Because look at Jordan King further back. It's the pass for first and third. Nice work, Joseph Newgarden over Alexander Rossi, Jordan King over Ryan Hunter-Reay. And that brings us up to where we are now for our third caution of the day, and it obviously involves Zach Veach.
Yeah, look at that floor. Look at the hole in the floor. So he's gone off at the same place where Will Power went off at the last corner. Hopefully we can get a replay of that, but massive downforce loss on the side of his car with that big hole in the floor.
And that goes all the way back to the opening lap. Here's the replay of Veach.
Same thing. Townsend way out in that little runoff area, and then once you're out in that no man's land and you get the marbles on the tires, you're just going for a ride.
Didn't hit anything though, so the car should be all right, but you're right, Paul, the exact same moment that Will Power had, the rear got light, had to try to recover, and at that point he's wide off of the grip.
Yeah, look at the damage right here. We can't really get a good shot of the right side of the car because this car's all corners, but look at the gaping hole right here.
But remember, PT, a lot of that goes back to the opening lap altercation with James Hinchcliffe.
All of it is from the opening lap.
Yeah. But you said he didn't hit anything in that, but how about the connection with the backside of the rumble strip? That was really ugly. That
generally unfavorable to the bottom of the car.
Yeah. Exactly. Not the place to be when you're going sideways in an IndyCar. So we've crept over the halfway mark of this Verizon IndyCar Series race in Portland, the return of the series here to the Pacific Northwest for the first time in 11 years, and this is a race that is giving us everything that it promised to, based on Thursday's free and open test day where there were 2 sessions, lots of practice, 3 practice sessions in the lead up to yesterday's qualifying, so the drivers needed plenty of on-track time, and it was showing us that it was going to give us a good race, and it has thus far.
I'll tell you what, this yellow really helps Takuma Sato, Bourdais, Dixon, and Piggott. They stay out. Hunter Ray stays out. That's a surprise.
All right, there's going to be plenty of action on pit road. Let's head down there. Take it away, Jan.
Well, for Joseph Newgarden, he is pitting from the lead because they had committed early. We obviously see Alexander Rossi as well. They committed early to a 3-stop strategy. Those who stayed out on the course are those who now have committed to the 2-stop. We watch to see who wins this drag off of pit road. Newgarden launches first, and there's a delay for Rossi, and it'll be neck and neck with Jordan King.
Barely got out ahead of Jordan King. They're very lucky, but Hunter Ray stays out on track with Sato and Bourdais. Dixon now up to 4th, and now he's got a 42-point lead again.
Well, here's the thing. I think for Hunter Ray's team, they have to decide, well, if we pit now, we're going to go to the back. If we stay in the lead and still have to make an extra pit stop, maybe we can open up a better gap to cover ourselves. So that's the gamble I think Hunter Ray's team is making.
Or another yellow.
Check out the race off pit road. Alexander Rossi, Jordan King. These two know each other from the old GP2 days. Rossi winning that battle. What a race. What a return to Portland. What do you got, Jan?
Well, talking about eligibility, I truly believe that Ryan Hunter-Reay, they have been coaching him. When we saw Jordan King pass him, it's because Ray Gosselin, his engineer, was on the radio saying, we're going to make the fuel number. We're going to do this in 1 more stop. They haven't made a last-minute decision. They have been holding him back on fuel so that there's only 1 more stop in his future, which would be everyone behind him as well. He's not going to be able to go full go like the cars behind him, but at the moment, the same number of stops for Ryan Hunter-Reay. This played right into his hands.
And we'll have to see. He's done 28 laps since his last pit.
And have a look at the cars in 3rd and 4th. Bourdais and Dixon on the same strategy. Last pitted on lap 40. Dixon could come away today with a podium. Who would believe that? Long way to go yet, though. Green flag flies. Back to racing in Portland.
Long way to go. We're just over halfway. Dixon takes a look on Bourdais, but this could be disaster for Rossi. He's back in 17th, and he's going to pass all these guys because they're really on the same strategy.
Santino Ferrucci in the purple car working on Carlos Munoz. Yes, Schmidt-Peterson running the Robert Wickens number 6. We say hello to Robbie. We know you're watching from Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis. Continue your comeback to better health, mate. We're all thinking about you. And Munoz, Carlos, it's a huge honor to be driving your car. This is Rossi, mired in the pack.
Think about where we are in the points. We thought Rossi was having the perfect day. Now, if he finishes in 17th, he would come out 42 points behind Scott Dixon.
After coming in 26 behind. Kev?
Edwards said when the caution came out, obviously that wasn't what we were looking for. Alex just asked right before the green, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is this for us? And Rob said 9. You're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, just pass cars right now.
Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do. This has really put a stacked deck against him. And how about Scott Dixon now has cycled his way back to the front. He's got a shot as we see Newgarden making moves. Whoa, right there. Whoa, over the curb again. He got a penalty for that. Had to let a car go by, so maybe he'll have to let the next car by for jumping that chicane.
That was Alfonso Solis Jr. I think Newgarden's going to have to figure out how to let him back by with Rossi and Gabby Chavez breathing down his neck.
They may say, though, that Solis
loose
is
there. He's loose. He's going to get a run on him right here.
Significantly slower, so they might, Newgarden may escape with that, not sure. Inside move, Jordan King, the black car on Solis Jr. Hangs him out to dry.
Solis, the rookie, with Juncos, the team running a part-time schedule. Munoz making a move on Pietro Fittipaldi on the backside. There's action all over the track.
Dirt all over the track. Guys are cutting the curbs there, pulling the dirt on the track. We've seen 2 crashes in this last corner. The 32 and the 1 are under review. Rossi looking down the back of Newgarden here.
The 32 and the 1, of course, Alfonso Solis Jr. and the 1 of Joseph Newgarden because of cutting the course. So, what's to come for the man in the Verizon number 1, trying to defend the 1. Points as they run. Joseph Newgarden would be some 93 back in 4th place, but still We stress 43 laps to go here in Portland. It's Ryan Hunter-Reay with just over a second over Takuma Sato, then Sebastian Bourdais, Scott Dixon and Spencer Pigot having a phenomenal day. He picked up his first IndyCar podium earlier this year at Iowa on the short track. And now he runs 5th behind a man right there trying to win his 5th IndyCar Series title. What a run for this young American in the green car, the Fuzzies Vodka Chevrolet.
Pigot going for it, so is Hunter-Reay. I'm surprised here with Hunter-Reay. It's been about 29 laps since his last stop, and there's still 42 laps in this race. I don't know how he can make it on just one more. He's going to probably need some luck.
Let's go a little further.
Remember your mixture here.
Go a little further into the pack. Simon Pagenaud is running 6th. Same strategy on last pitted lap 45, the same. Oh, look at this. Joseph Newgarden trying to get by Santino Ferrucci. Down there, this is a difficult place to make passes. Triple apex right. This was a tricky spot for you, Paul, wasn't it? You didn't like this section of the track.
Difficult to make passes anywhere, and that's Harvey that he's behind. Harvey's having a good day. He was up front earlier. Oh, he dives to that wide corner.
Gotcha.
Oh,
gotcha.
Rossi. Both of them trying to slide through. You're not going to get through this dog leg too abreast.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Good driving, Jack Harvey. He gave Rossi room.
But I've got to say, Alexander Rossi, that's a driver that studied this racetrack and probably on the track walk paid close attention to that curve, because that's a different curve than what caught out Hinchcliffe earlier in the race.
Jan?
A lot of discussions going on for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Ray Gosselin has been on the radio coaching Ryan about fuel. Do you feel confident you can do it in one more stop, Michael?
Yeah, if he keeps hitting the number that he's hitting, yeah, we should be able to make it. But, you know, unfortunately, we have we stopped earlier than the other guys that are behind us, so they're going to be able to pressure us a little harder because they have, you know, they can run it richer. So it's going to be a tough race.
Feel a bit like the old days here, having had victories yourself, now leading this one?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's a good feeling. You know, we love coming here, and it'd be awesome to you know, win the first race back for sure.
Thank you, Michael.
Michael has had great success here. He is a 3-time winner, along with Al Unser Jr. No action from race control on the 1 or the 32. They're letting him race. They're letting Newgarden get on with it.
This race has been up and down and all over the place. Cars going in the tires. The points chase up and down and up and down. Bourdais, Dixon up front again. They had a crash on the first lap. Unbelievable.
And how about this? Takuma Sato has only used 8 seconds of push to pass. As you see, Matthias Lace working the back of Jack Harvey, got by Jack Harvey. Now Rossi, Newgarden. This is going to be a battle all the way to the end with these guys trying to get up through the field.
Chilton in that Gallagher Chevrolet right there trying to work. Carlos Munoz in the 6th. By the way, you heard Michael Andretti mention the guys chasing have got more fuel. Takuma Sato's got 6 more laps of fuel than Ryan Hunter-Reay. And then Bourdais and Dixon 7 more laps. This will be interesting to see how it plays out as Munoz finally concedes that position to Max Chilton. So that's a little further back in the pack, just knocking on the door of the top 10. Here comes Newgarden.
Tough pass to pull off right there.
Wow, gets it done.
Good smart driving by Munoz. Munoz just trying to get a decent finish here. He hasn't driven a road course in a long, long time.
Here comes Rossi on Munoz. Rossi with a great run. Rossi's on the button.
To go a long way. Focus forward.
Munoz only has 22 seconds left, so that's no contest, I think. Yeah, Rossi gets by, holds on to the tail of Newgarden. Rossi now up to 14th with that move.
PT Townsend, tell us folks at home how important it is when you hear somebody like Rob Edwards, the COO of Andretti Autosport. They come in your ear, they come on the radio, they say, focus forward, long way to go, we're still in it. How much does that help?
Well, for Rob Edwards, if you're Alexander Rossi, you listen and respond to everything Rob Edwards tells you to do, because there's probably not a more experienced guy in this field like Rob Edwards. Been doing this for over 20 years successfully. He knows exactly what's required to win, the mileage, the tempo, when to push, when to be conservative. He's coached Rossi all season through this championship.
Listen, he's got to do exactly what Scott Dixon has done. Not panic, keep it cool, work your way forward, focus forward like Rob Edwards said, and at the end of the day, he's got to put the knife between his teeth and just make passes and move his way forward.
Behind the orange and blue PNC Bank car is Spencer Piggott, and as we give you our Chevrolet driver update, Spencer is the highest placed Chevrolet driver over Simon Pagenaud. Those two guys are on the same strategy. Charlie Kimball, then Tony Kanaan. And speaking of Chevrolet and Honda, it's always a very spirited manufacturer's battle, and for the first time since Chevrolet re-entered IndyCar Series racing, Honda has actually eclipsed them and has won the Manufacturers' Championship. Congratulations to Honda.
Great job by Honda, but what that means through the rest of this season with 2 races to go, Paul, is that Chevy and Honda are just throwing motors at these things. Everybody's getting new motors every race. Sometimes I think multiple times a weekend if need be, because they're not worried about any engine penalties from the manufacturer's standpoint. It's kind of like the old days. We used to use 3 motors a weekend.
Absolutely, that's the way it used to be. Now everything is much more cost effective. They run these engines now for 2,500 miles.
Captain America Ryan Hunter-Reay leads the way in his Andretti Autosport Honda, but does he have enough fuel? Can he get it done and keep himself in this championship?
Back at Portland, where the leader has hit pit road, we expected to see Ryan Hunter-Reay a little bit earlier, just like Michael Andretti told us. He has a brand new set of Firestone Reds. They go with a little bit of front wing. Now waiting for every last bit of Sunoco. Wow, 7.3 seconds. That's what you need. 6.3 for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
6.3 seconds is a sensational stop. He's got sticker reds and in the catbird seat to get to the end.
Cycles back in around about 17th position behind Jack Harvey. Hey, need to remind you that NBC Sports is the exclusive home of the Verizon IndyCar Series, and next year, 2019, you get even more IndyCar with NBC Sports Gold. Be the first to know about the new NBC Sports Gold IndyCar Pass. Simply visit NBCSports.com/IndyCar or text IndyCar to 66866 now. Now, Townsend earlier said Scott Dixon was the miracle on dirt. You're going to see something special on dirt this Friday night. Now, physically, it happens Wednesday and Thursday night at the Brickyard. It's the BC39. Yes, dirt track racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm excited to say I'm going to go there as a fan, Robin Miller. I know you're excited about it as well.
Well, there's 118 entries, Lee, and they've never had a race like that at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so everybody that owns a midget or has ever driven a midget wants to be in it. We tried to get Townsend Bell one, but he has no dirt experience. They declined him. USAC said, no thanks, maybe next time. But I think it's going to be cool because we're going to put our package together on Wednesday and Thursday night and then show it after NASCAR America on Friday night. So open-wheel dirt track fans are going to get a treat, and NBC, thank you for doing that because it's really cool that the grassroots guys are being recognized.
Oh, it's fantastic. Now here is the miracle on dirt. Scott Dixon, series leader, and is keeping himself in with a shot of a 5th championship. Folks, if you haven't seen it, this is lap 1. Take the ride with Dixon. He doesn't hit anything. He's in the middle of a melee. And there's Graham Rahal. Marco Andretti is upside down. Ed Jones, his teammate, is right beside. He's out of the race. And Dixon fires it up, hits reverse, and drives out, PT.
Look at that nose on the front of his car. What's that look like? He's got a big rubber mark on the front like the chrome horn.
Like the chrome horn.
Let's not forget that Dixon also had to do a drive-through penalty for pit speed violation.
Yeah.
So he now runs 3rd, and 3rd legitimately. Everybody else needs one more stop except Ryan Hunter-Reay. So Dixon in podium position, and as they run right now, would come out of here with a 40-point championship lead.
Heading to Sonoma, the season finale. Incredible. You know, there might be people like Alexander Rossi who's feared. Here he comes with his last stop. Rossi's feared for his passing. Power is feared for his speed. Every single driver fears this guy for his survival abilities. You never count Scott Dixon or Chip Ganassi racing out.
So the second to make the final stop of the day. So we'll be keeping an eye on Ryan Hunter-Reay to watch how Dixon blends back in. He's got a set of sticker red, the softer, faster Firestones, and they think those will last the full stint. Front wing adjustment. Shouldn't have to save that much fuel. Dixon can race the rest of the way. Hunter-Reay is easily going to beat him back out.
Hunter-Reay goes. Dixon now has more fuel to burn, though, than Hunter-Reay. There goes Hinch. Hinch is 19 laps down, so if Dixon can make quick work of Hinchcliffe, he's got full fuel or near about. Oh, no, there's going to be a yellow here.
Santucci,
Are you blending names there?
Yeah, he's got a problem. He's not going to make it around, so they might have to go full course yellow
and that's
going to
retrieve
him.
That's going to be huge.
This is going to throw things all upside down, but the good news is Dixon has pitted if it goes full course yellow. He's been hung out by the yellow before.
Sato, Bourdais, Piggott, they've all come to pit lane in case a yellow comes out. Bourdais in.
So
everybody's in.
The whole field is in the pit lane.
It's the insurance policy. You do not want to be on track when the yellow comes out.
So Bourdais was going to be able to pit. He was going to wait a couple of more laps. He gets back out, and Rossi comes in. But nearly clips Simon Pagenaud as Pagenaud is exiting. A near miss for one of the championship contenders. So Rossi fuel. Jan, what are you watching?
Well, I just saw, as you saw, Joseph Newgarden scoot out there as well. Everyone hit pit road because had the yellow come out, they would have all been put back to the very back of the pack. So thankfully, it stayed green long enough for everyone to hit pit road. Now forces them on the same strategy. If they had gone yellow again,
there it is. There it is. They gave everybody a chance to pit before they threw that, and it didn't throw the championship upside down.
Very cool from race control to do that. Santino Ferrucci.
Not Santucci. Santucci can be his nickname that Paul gave him if you like. This is the young American from Connecticut who's returned from Europe to race in the USA. Got himself in a little hot water you may have heard about recently in Europe, but would really like to make the Verizon IndyCar Series his home. He's racing in a third Dale Coyne entry.
Is there a chance he ran out of fuel?
Might have. Could have run out of fuel by not pitting.
The team is confused about that right now. That might be it, but they're saying, we're showing you have 4 more laps of fuel.
Watch this. Pagenaud, and Rossi.
Paul, I've never seen an incident about to happen like that did not happen on pit lane. That was sheer contact. Good heads-up driving from Pagenaud to just whoa up, and Rossi always cuts it close, whether it's on the track or on pit lane.
Well, it's getting frantic up here as we see
Graham
Rahal coming back out. And the way this race is going, with this yellow, this could breed more yellows.
Almost certainly.
Everybody's feeling pretty racy today, aren't they? This has been a spectacular return to Portland and the Portland International Raceway. Not so spectacular for the one Cure Honda, Graham Rahal and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Lap 1, they were right in the middle of that incident that we just replayed for you a little earlier. Great day for Hunter Ray, amazing weekend for Bourdais and Dixon, Spencer Piggott, the entire Ed Carpenter team. And here is Pagenaud with that near miss. Can he be in the mix come the end of the race?
Max Chilton, the leader, but he last pitted on lap 54. Surprising that he did not opt to come in when everybody ducked into pit lane, because he won't be able to make it to the end. So Sato will have full fuel and 147 seconds of push to pass to get to the end.
Think about this. Think about the amount of tracks, given that he's a former F1 driver and lived in the UK for a long time, a British F3 champion. This is Takuma Sato I'm talking about, and of course last year's Indianapolis 500 winner. Think about the amount of racetracks around the globe that the second car there, Takuma Sato, that the Japanese driver has raced on. And he said Portland is awesome. It is so challenging, so much fun, high grip. He said this is something else. And he has a shot at winning this return race for the first time for the series in 11 years here. Sato has a shot. Raced really well. There he is in the MyJack entry for Bobby Rahal's team, Rahal Letterman Lanigan. He raced really well at Road America earlier this year. He's got a shot at winning this one today.
Well, there goes Graham Rahal, unfortunately retired for the day. And I think Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to have something to say about Sato winning the race today, because he's looking very strong with fuel and push to pass, along with Sebastian Bourdais.
Some great team spirit there. The drivers get a lot of the adulation, but this is truly a team sport. Back after this. There is a weekend off, and then it's championship weekend. Yes, they're all racing for the Astor Cup just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. Wine country, Sonoma. What a beautiful spot it is. And a champion will be crowned, but who will be the champion? Can Dixon do it for a 5th time? Can Newgarden defend the 1? Can Rossi get his mate an IndyCar championship? Or how about Will Power? Will he get a 2nd? And how about Ryan Hunter-Reay? He's still not out of it either. And we'll get things kicking off on Friday with practice coverage of course, the race, the Grand Prix of Sonoma, Sunday, September 16, right here on your home of motorsport. Speaking of Hunter Ray still in the mix, let's have a listen to some Hunter Ray radio.
We should have stayed on until after Sato got out of the pit lane and then dealt with it from there.
We weren't going to be able to. Your number was going to go down to 519. It was really going to get away from us. He only pitted because of the car going off. He still had fuel to keep going.
Time to go racing. Time to go racing. Max Chilton is not on the same strategy as the guys, and it's waved off. So the restart waved off. Race control not quite happy with what they saw to get things going again. By the way, that radio transmission, you heard the voice of Ryan Hunter-Reay's race engineer, Ray Gosselin. Ray will actually engineer Fernando Alonso coming up on September 5 this week at the test at Barber Motorsports Park.
Pretty fascinating to hear the difference between Alexander Rossi responding to Rob Edwards and Ryan Hunter-Reay responding to Ray Gosselin. Let's head down to pit lane.
Katie?
Max Chilton still has to pit, which would leave Takuma Sato in the lead. And Derek, we were just chatting. Fuel strategy has burned you guys several times this year on the 30 car. So what gave you the confidence to go for it today?
Actually, the guys on the timing stand, making the calls, watching fuel strategy, and in fact, Takuma actually picked a strategy going into the race. He got stuck in traffic and just started saving on his own. So a lot of the credit has to go to Takuma.
And this is even more important now, guys, that the 15 is behind the wall.
Derek himself was a USAC sprint car standout. He's quite the driver in his own right, now calling strategy for the man who could win this race.
He's got to be in fuel saves mode, but this extra lap for that jump start by Chilton, they said it was waved off because he went too early. That does everything but help Sato.
Sato in front of his former Andretti Autosport teammate. So you've got Takuma Sato, an Indy 500 winner, Ryan Hunter-Reay, an Indy 500 winner, Sebastian Bourdais and Scott Dixon, 2 four-time series champions. And then you pick up Spencer Pigot, who just got his first IndyCar podium earlier this year. Let's go racing in Portland.
And everybody on sticky Firestone Red's going to bring it all right here in turn 1.
Chilton's got a pretty angry pack bearing down on him. Look further back. Rossi's working on Newgarden. The yellow and blue car. Keep an eye on Rossi.
Rossi's in sight now of Dixon, but he's got to get by Newgarden, who's tough work, and they got some guys that are up in front of them that are just looking for a good result, like Kimball is looking, and Pagano and Pigot. These guys are desperate for a good result.
Yeah, they're not going to make an easy passage through, that's for sure. It's on for second. The yellow and red DHL Honda of Ryan Hunter-Reay and Takuma Sato.
We know that Chilton's going to have to pit, so he wants to lead laps. Sato is saving fuel to make it to the end, and Pigot's got a big run.
Outside of Scott Dixon, you're not going to do it, or are you? Yes, he does! What a move, Spencer Pigot on Scott Dixon.
Championship now is 32 points.
Look at the patience from Alexander Rossi, trying to get a good exit. He has 20 seconds more of push to pass than Newgarden. Both are on the button, Rossi and Newgarden. There you see the Verizon car. Here comes Rossi.
Oh, he's good in there. He's got it. Easy pass. And then Gabby Chavez does the exact same move, but Kanaan pushes him off the track.
Kanaan, the most experienced driver in the field at Portland, and he shows it by running Chavez out of road at the exit, which makes it impossible to get the power down when half your car's on the dirt.
Jordan King's been shuffled back in the mix. He's trying to fend off that purple Sirius XM car of Jack Harvey. Then Mateus Laced, Alfonso Solis Jr., and then James Hinchcliffe back on board with Dixon. Wonder what he thought about that move of Spencer Pigot. He said, yeah, you can have it. I'm not going to fight you here at the fast chicane. Taking nothing away from Spencer's move. It was brave, and the young man is still on the charge. Here's the replay. Watch the green car to your right.
Big time brave. He forced him to go to the outside. You see Dixon does the Pruitt fade out to the outside, forces Pigot to the far line, but he had a lot of speed, good head of speed, and just outbraked him and turned it in on him.
Look at the action there on your right. Rossi and Pietro Fittipaldi. Pietro out of push to pass. Here's the replay of the 27 Rossi on Newgarden. Watch this.
Rossi does a Newgarden to Newgarden.
That's the blacks to reds again. Same thing, that is reverse order from last time. Rossi's on the reds, Newgarden on the blacks, and that braking power generated by those red tires is phenomenal.
I think it's tough here for Newgarden. He's the only driver left on blacks to finish this race. The exception being Jordan King, who's much further back now. Very hard to defend, and Rossi's on the charge.
Max Chilton still leads in the Carlin Chevrolet. but he will have to pit one more time. That then puts Sato to the top, Hunter-Reay to second, Bourdais, Piggott, Dixon. That would effectively be your top 5. Then you pick up that bright yellow car, the Menards entry for Simon Pagenaud. Great run for Charlie Kimball behind him. That's Max Chilton's teammate.
Carlin is having a phenomenal race. Kimball started in last place, and now they're leading the race, the Carlin team, and Kimball all the way up to 8th. So this is a great event for them.
And he's got Alexander Rossi behind him. Here is Bourdais, that Gorilla car, the pink and white one. That was wrecked yesterday. After practice 3, Bourdais crashed at high speed. The team had to work frantically to get it ready for qualifying. What a story that is for Dale Coyne with Jimmy Vasser and James Sullivan.
Well, and there you can see the mismatching front wing on Bourdais too. Not a Gorilla front wing because Bourdais had contact on that opening shunt, so that car's been through the ringer. What a result it would be for them to be on the podium. And he's all over Hunter-Reay, Paul. He could factor into the win here before we're done.
If you're wondering what Gorilla is, they're a wheel company. It's one of the longtime sponsors as we see Chilton come in, but they make lug nuts for wheels, Gorilla wheel nuts.
New race leader. The MyJack Honda of Takuma Sato leads, and here comes Bourdais. Couple of series champions duking it out here. Hunter-Reay on your left, Bourdais on your right.
And Bourdais has been thrifty with push to pass. Nobody has more seconds in his pocket than Sebastian Bourdais right now, 123 seconds. Hunter-Reay with 108. Excuse me, Sato has 128. So Sato with the most at hand, followed by Bourdais.
Sato can't use it because he's got to make the fuel mileage to get to the end, Kevin.
And Sebastian Bourdais has joked this week. I think I set a record for being a rating champion for the longest. Remember, he won an IndyCar race the last time here. That was 11 years ago. He's the only winner entered, a 2-time winner. And like Scott Dixon, what a remarkable turnaround from 1, the crash yesterday, and 2, involved in contact at the beginning of this race, to go all the way from the back to get up to the front. And he has a legitimate chance to win because he's got a little bit more fuel on board than Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And 119 of his 200 allocated seconds of push to pass. He's got he's got a hungry young American behind him in Spencer Piggott. I don't think I've ever seen Spencer angry. He's such a lovely young man, and he has hustled that fuzzy Chevrolet really nicely today. He's got the championship leader behind him. Dixon's got a bit of breathing room because Pagenaud is a couple of seconds behind him. Keep an eye. You know what? If Sebastian Bourdais podiums today, that would be the last 5 times in a row that Bourdais has raced here. He's podiumed, including victories.
A couple other guys hungry for a podium. Pagenaud and Kimball having nice runs, and it's a nice recovery for Pagenaud. Given the weekend he's had, he struggled to find the balance, figure out how to get the car working around here, and now he's learning all the tricks from the guys that have been faster than him this weekend. And Pagenaud, one of the smartest drivers in the field, he's like a human data acquisition machine. Rob Edwards giving the information. I think that was Rob Edwards.
He can't sit around now. The fuel mileage master has got to go. And Charlie Kimball, who's right in front of him, as we look at Fittipaldi having a great day in the Dale Coyne car. Charlie Kimball is a tough character to pass. He makes it tough for everybody, so he's got to be careful, but he can't sit around. He's got to chase down Dixon, because right now it's 29 points. It's basically a wash for the weekend where they started out.
You said, Paul, great day so far for Pietro Fittipaldi, the rookie. This is only his 5th race this year, and he's coming off his best result of 11th last weekend in Gateway. So recovering from those horrendous leg injuries where he suffered the crash at Spa in the World Endurance Championship sports car event. And remember, he was involved in the incident in Pocono a couple of weeks ago, the crash between Robert Wickens and Ryan Hunter-Reay, that 5-car incident. He said, my bone hasn't healed properly yet in one of my legs. It's still quite bruised, it's still quite sore. He's still walking with quite the limp. This is a brave young man.
Not back to 100%, but I'd say so far this is his best kind of complete IndyCar weekend. He's learning so much here, and he's going to learn the value of saving push to pass, because our data shows that he is out completely. Nothing left for Pietro Fittipaldi. We'll see how much of a challenge he comes under as we see his teammate Bourdais under a challenge from Spencer Piggott.
Absolutely. Bourdais now has kind of fell off the back of Hunter-Reay. He was challenging Hunter-Reay, and he's kind of backing up. Now Piggott having a great run as well.
And in the back, Paul, you see now Alexander Rossi has Scott Dixon in his sights. Rossi needs to get by Kimball and Pagenaud, and then Scott Dixon will be there. Right now, championship points, 29 points. There it is, 29 points to the favor of Scott Dixon.
And he started the day with 26, so he would grow it after being involved in that lap 1 accident.
Plus 1.7 to the rear.
But at one point, Rossi was up 40 points on Dixon until that untimely, disastrous yellow came out.
It's been one of those days here in Portland, certainly a day to remember.
Dixon running a new steering wheel this weekend. He's run the same steering wheel, Townsend, for 15 years, and he's got a Max Pappas designed and built steering wheel there. It's a big change for him this weekend. He's custom made this steering wheel, Max, that you see in the center there, MPI. So great opportunity for Max to have the champion running his stuff.
Never met somebody more obsessed with a steering wheel than you, Paul. I'm going to get you one for Christmas.
Let's get back to the front. Let's talk about Takuma Sato. And what a composed drive this has been in his first appearance at Portland International Raceway. He boasts a 1.1 second lead over Ryan Hunter-Reay. That's what it looks like on a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. As we welcome you back, Lee Diffie, Paul Tracy, Townsend Bell with the coverage. And this has been quite the day here in Portland. Takuma Sato on the left-hand side of your screen, leading Ryan Hunter-Reay. It's Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan up against Andretti Autosport.
Great helicopter view, shows you how fast this track is, as now Bourdais has gapped Piggott. Katie, what's going on with Sato?
Well, Takuma is Paul, it's hard to believe that this is Takuma's 9th season in IndyCar, and it will be just the 3rd win of his career. He's the Indy 500 champion from 2017. He won the biggest street race in Long Beach in 2013, and this will be his first road course win. Jan?
Well, he's got to get to the finish line first, and that, of course, may not be the case because Ryan Hunter-Reay and Ray Gosselin, they have been coaching him. Remember, Sato has 4 more laps of fuel than does Ryan Hunter-Reay, so they've been holding Ryan Hunter-Reay back with the intent of turning him loose at the end. So when they turn him loose, he's going to have more fuel. He's going to be able to hit the go button. So this is not over yet, Kevin.
Well, at one point, Alexander Rossi, as the points run, went at about a 40-point lead in the championship. The caution really caught them out. Rob Edwards on the stand for Alex. Do you have anything to pick up any more spots here at the end? How hard can he run on fuel?
We're good on fuel. I mean, I think we're just stuck, right? It's so hard to overtake here. You know, like you say, the yellows came at the wrong time for us today. I guess we're on damage control right now.
It was interesting talking with Alex earlier before this race. He said, will you worry about yellows? Will you try to beat the yellows that come in? He said, no, you got to run your race. We'll take chances, but we're not going to let the yellow dictate what we do.
He's an aggressive passer, and he's got one of the most toughest guys to pass right in front of him. So to make something happen, Lee, with Charlie looking at a good result, it's going to be a lot of risk.
Listen, something we have not highlighted yet for Charlie Kimball, the driver ahead, and the team, Carlin Racing. For Charlie and for Max Chilton in their first season with Carlin, and Chilton has history with Trevor Carlin's team in the junior formula. For particularly ahead for Charlie Kimball, Charlie's very quietly amassed 5 top 10 finishes this year for Carlin, and that's been a huge shot in the arm for the team. So this would make it number 6, and he just quietly goes about his business. The team are learning, they're gelling with the team. And here he is, chasing down a former series champion and doing a great job in 7th place.
Well, right now, positions 1 through 6, you've got Ray Hall, Andretti, Coin Team, ECR, Ganassi, and then Penske, and then Carlin. There's 7 different teams representing the top 7 drivers right now, and Carlin and Charlie Kimball absolutely holding their own on pace. That's nice to see.
And he started dead last in the field. He has worked his way, not by yellows and things and accidents. He's kind of worked his way through the field.
I really enjoy the way that over the last, and it's certainly not a short time as Katie highlighted, I love the way that Takuma Sato has molded into an IndyCar driver. You know, this guy started some 90 Formula One Grand Prix, had the honor of standing on the podium, raced for a variety of teams, Jordan and BAR and Super Aguri, and has bounced around to different teams here in the Verizon IndyCar Series too, but a lot of the team owners have loved having Takuma as part of their outfit. He returns to Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan this year. He's been a really good teammate to Graham Rahal, and has had some solid results. And boy, oh boy, wouldn't this be something if he could pull off the win in less than 8 laps. What you got, Robin?
Well, we talked about the crowd, and they've been thanking all the racers for being here. We can't thank them enough for the turnout after an 11-year absence. Well, here's what's amazing, Lee. They're on the schedule next year to come back on Labor Day. And I talked to Kevin Savory and Kim Green, the co-promoters, and they said they were warned, you don't want to have a race on Labor Day. It's going to be death. You can't do it. You can't win. It never works. Well, guess what? It's worked really well this weekend. And I tell you something. They don't have a title sponsor yet, but Savory said today's attendance and the whole weekend's attendance and the atmosphere in the city about this race, they got 4 guys they're talking to about next year, so it's been a good weekend all around for these guys that brought Portland back on the schedule.
I saw Kim Green early in the weekend, and this is the 4th event that Kim Green, former IndyCar team owner, your former boss, and Kevin Savory, the 4th event that they promote. They do St. Petersburg, Mid-Ohio, Toronto, and this. And Kim said, I'm not joking, Diff, we could have sold out the motorhome lot 2 or 3 times over. The pre-ticket sales were great. The walk-up, we're told, is going to be good. Hey, why not let's make this a Labor Day special? Put it on the calendar every year.
Wouldn't get any complaints from me. I like the time zone. As we see Takuma Sato, that lead to Ryan Hunter-Reay is shrinking down to 1.1 seconds. And most importantly, if they're able to turn Hunter-Reay loose on fuel, he has 40, almost 50 more seconds than Takuma Sato on push-to-pass left.
Hunter-Reay's last lap was a 59.6 to a 59.8, so he's bringing it back in, trying to close that gap. The closer you are to the back of Sato, the more fuel you'll save. You're in the slipstream.
You just keep back to the program we were doing so we can go get him.
Okay,
maybe going a little too hard, a little too early, a little too hard. He's got to still save.
That was the question I was going to have for Jan, is how much longer does Hunter-Reay have to save before they can turn him loose, Jan? What's all the chatter been like? We just heard Ray Gosselin.
Yes, when you hear Ray say we got to stick with the program, remember, making up 4 laps of fuel is a lot. So they need to hold him back until the last moment to be able to get him. You don't want to give him, let's say, just a little bit more fuel. That's not going to help you. You need to save fuel to the very end to where you can go full gas and then make an attempt to pass. Because as you know,
wheel 5, keep doing what you're doing. Go to wheel 5, keep doing what you're doing.
Now, wheel 5, that is a fuel setting. Wheel 5 is what you make the changes, and they're watching. And again, what they want to do is they tell him, watch out for your push to pass. You can see that Hunter-Reay has 108 versus 65, but at the moment, push to pass burns fuel.
That's right.
They want to save it and go for a run at the end.
And that is a miserable situation. With 6 laps to go in 108 seconds, you could burn, 15 seconds a lap, and Hunter-Reay's not doing that right now. So the question is, can he or will he be able to use any of the push to pass, or does he just need to hit a number to get to the finish? Always, that's really tough as a driver, Paul, as you know, knowing you could go faster, but you can't.
Yeah, especially when you're in a situation like Hunter-Reay where he was leading, got the lead away from his teammate, was comfortably out front, and then on a strategy deal, Sato jumps in front of you and has the right amount of fuel to get to the end. That's frustrating, but he's just got to sit there and play the game, hopefully draw close enough, but Sato's still got plenty of push to pass himself with 5 laps to go, as they're going to do.
Last race at St. Louis, Sato went off strategy earlier and was sitting in a really good spot and was hurt by the yellow. And this weekend, it's flip-flopped perfectly. Sato exactly where he wants to be. 5 laps to go.
4 to go. 4
now
to go.
4.
Stay on the program.
Here comes Ryan. Here comes Hunter-Reay. I think he's probably the closest that he has been. Sato, Hunter-Reay, Bourdais provisionally on the podium. Then Spencer Piggott with an outstanding permanent road course drive today. Scott Dixon, boy, the damage control, the luck, the misfortune, then the turn of events. An incredible storybook day for this man here, Scott Dixon. Recently turned 38 and one of the most successful IndyCar drivers in the history of the sport. There is a 5th championship awaiting him in 2 weeks' time. If he can nurse this result home, he'll head to California with a 29-point championship lead. How about Will Power, the pole man who blitzed his way to the Verizon P1 award yesterday, got off to a great start, and then once everything was cleaned up from that opening lap crash, he got going again, got to turn 7, and just nothing happened in front of Alexander Rossi. Gearbox issues, then he had a crash, went back to the pits, got it all going again, but Will Power finds himself way down the order, some 7 laps down in 21st position.
RHR, we're hearing on the radio, has been given the green light to go and chase down Sato. Sato leading the race for Bobby Rahal's team. Bobby Rahal calls the shots on the pit stand there. Been a long time since Bobby's had a win.
Now RHR, 3 laps to go. It'll be 2 laps at the line. RHR has 101 seconds of push to pass. Now he's on the button. So RHR can use the button for like 90% of the rest of this race. He's going to have a shot, I think, guys.
For those of you turning on, expecting to see NASCAR at Darlington and the Southern 500, we'll get you there soon as this race is finished. But how is it going to finish?
It's right there now, so 2 laps to go, coming to the line.
Full overtake, last 2 laps.
Full overtake the last 2 laps. Let's do it. 2 to go, less than 4 miles. Is it going to be Takuma Sato or Ryan Hunter-Reay? He's right there.
No attack, no chance. Sato is gunning for a win. It's been a long time since he's been in the winner's circle on a road course, and he will not give up easily.
Ryan can stay on the button almost always. Only when he's off throttle, coasting into a corner, will he come off it. He needs to get Sato to burn everything he has. It's going to be hard for Hunter-Reay to get close through these quick corners.
Sato's good in the infield. He pulls a little bit out on the infield, but Hunter-Reay comes back on the straightaways. Hunter-Reay's really good down here in the chicane in the last corner, but Sato's better in the infield.
Can Hunter-Reay be close enough, PT, on that front straight, heading down to the festival curves on the final lap?
Sato not using push to pass, still has 45 seconds. Here they go. It's going to go green light right here.
Flag, last lap, overtake all the way.
Last lap coming up, less than 2 miles. Has Hunter-Reay got something here for Sato? He's not close enough.
Really only has 1 more chance, Paul, which will be on the back straightaway.
Or into the tight hairpin if he can get close in the infield. 3 more corners from here, but Sato's car is on rails through this triple right.
Well, the other issue is these corners are fast enough to where the turbulent air is just too much for Hunter-Reay to get close.
You've got to remember earlier this weekend it was not a positive start for either Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan driver, Graham Rahal or Takuma Sato. The team felt like they were a little bit 1 step behind, but Sato said, we had a great weekend at Road America. If we can work it out, we can have a great weekend here as well. And he's just a few more corners away from victory, which would be his first permanent road course victory. An incredible result. He's made up 19 positions from his start. He's an Indy 500 winner. He's now a Portland winner. Takuma Sato wins on IndyCar's return to the Northwest. How about that? Phenomenal effort from the Japanese driver. Takuma Sato can add Portland to Long Beach and the Brickyard as his IndyCar race victories. Ryan Hunter-Reay for second and Sebastian Bourdais, an amazing podium, but perhaps shadowing everything is Scott Dixon in 5th and will leave with the championship lead. There is Dixon, involved in the lap 1 crash and comes away with a top 5 as he congratulates Sato.
Well, everybody in this field respects, admires Sato for his persistence, his hard work, his discipline, and his speed.
My head is still spinning from what went on today. This was the most wild topsy-turvy race that I think I've ever seen.
It had everything. It had everything. And Takuma Sato delivers. Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan.
Can't imagine what Alexander Rossi's going to be thinking after this race. All season he's been saying, Dixon, he never has a bad day. And once again, Rossi is just going to be just puzzled and frustrated. And Rossi did nothing wrong. He was so fast.
First win for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan since Texas 2016. And Sato's first victory since he won at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis 500 last year. That's fantastic. 8th different winner on the season. Really good win. Top 3, all Hondas, by the way.
Last win was Brazil for Foyt on a road course, street course. It's been a long time since he's had a win on a
well, it's Rahal.
The Rahal
No,
team.
I mean for Sato.
For Sato,
yes.
So it's his first win since the Indianapolis 500. It's his first win on a permanent road course.
Since he drove for Foyt.
Since he drove.
Well, ever.
No, first win on a road course ever.
Long Beach.
Because
when
Long
he drove
Beach
for
street
Foyt.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good run.
Oh, amazing. What a day. Hey, good for you. Saw Pagano in the background there. Boy, they'll be breathing a sigh of relief because the weekend did not start very well, and he actually started this race on the 11th row. There's a lot of people who'll be taking a lot away from this day. And let's not forget, there's the green car, Spencer Piggott, the young American who finishes in the top 4 just off the podium. Awesome performance.
There he rolls. This is new now. They're going to direct Takuma Sato into the paddock where all of the fans are. And there's Scott Dixon, Paul. Wife Emma ducks in and says, can you believe it? Look at the damage. So minimal compared to what everybody else suffered. Many drivers retired from the race, and that's all he had.
Looks like the front of one of my cars from back in the day, but this guy is just a warrior. He never gives up. You could never count him out, and that right there is a championship-winning drive.
There's Bobby Rahal. Bobby's experienced victory here at Portland. Bobby won in 1987, and now one of his drivers has. SG Fusick, the manager of Takuma Sato.
Graham Rahal ducks in there.
Taku is one of those drivers, and you pointed to it, Townsend, that everybody gets energized when you're around Takuma Sato. He's a 41-year-old, 19-year-old. He's baby-faced. He's got so much energy, such a positive spirit.
So many sponsors from Japan. Honda's been his longtime sponsor, and all this does is solidify him for a program for next year.
Let's hear from Takuma Sato.
And he scores just the 3rd win of his career. Big hugs from all of the 30 crew. It's his first win since Indianapolis of 2017, and it came with Takuma calling his very own strategy. Takuma, that was a bold call just after Fuel Strategy had burned you just last week.
It was actually. We had a difficult weekend on the last couple of weeks, but this weekend it's really paid off, and we carefully calculated. Of course, everyone does it, but I think the strategy worked really extremely well. Obviously, the car worked well, and pit stop was fantastic. Look at these guys again. Beautiful, beautiful.
Ryan Hunter-Reay was closing in on you those last few laps. Were you looking at him in your mirrors?
Yeah, I was, of course, and I knew he had over 100 times of the push-to-pass, so at 60 or 50 counting down, and I knew he's coming, but you know, I was kept on the really cool, and Ryan really raced the fair, you know, a bit in and out. We raced in time race together, but brilliant.
Kevin, an impressive day for the 30 team from 20th to 1st.
Takuma Sato might have won the race today, but Scott Dixon might have recovered to win a championship. We'll find out in 2 weeks. At the beginning of this race, when you're caught up in this melee, we're going to let you watch for the first time. What are you thinking your chances for any kind of success is today?
Well, I thought it was pretty bad. I couldn't see anything. Once I got off in the dirt, it was just, you know, dust everywhere. And then I kept getting hit, and I'm like, oh God, this is not going to be good. You know, surely the car's going to be in a bit of trouble. But kind of the dust cleared, you know, sort of car was still running, selective reverse, had enough room to back out. And then once the truck moved, I was able to pull away. I think the suspension was a bit bent. The car didn't drive like it, you know, it felt like it should. But huge day for the team. You know, this feels like a win for us in these circumstances. Lucky to keep the car going. Then we had a drive-through penalty with speeding on pit lane, which it must have been a technical glitch because I definitely turned it off after. It was nothing that I did. So we'll have to look into that for sure. But man, crazy.
And at one point, it's points as they run when Rossi was leading and you were 20th or 21st. You were about 40 back. You actually gained points from 26 to 29 up. Is this your year?
I don't know. You know, well, obviously, you know, going into Sonoma, you know, 30 points or 29 or whatever it is not a huge amount. You know, we'll have to see how it affected the 12 car as well. But just, you know, really happy for the team. You know, that these guys and girls have worked so hard. Just stoked for them. Super happy for Sato. It's good to see him get a lucky break there. He did a hell of a job on fuel mileage, so congrats to him.
One more to go to try for championship number 5.
One more to go. What an incredible day. We show you the points. Paul Tracy, what are your thoughts? An extraordinary day.
This is why you got to watch IndyCar. You never know what's going to happen. It's up and down all over the place, and this championship now goes down to the wire.
Townsend?
If I'm Scott Dixon, I'm telling him right now, take your beautiful wife Emma to Vegas right now. This has been the miracle on dirt for sure. He's running under a lucky star this season.
And a different winner, an 8th different winner in Takuma Sato. Congratulations to him. Coming up next, it is the Southern 500 from Darlington. Want to remind you, we'll be back with Verizon IndyCar Series racing from Sonoma Raceway in 2 weeks' time. That's Sunday, September 16 at 6:30 Eastern to decide and see whether Scott Dixon can clinch a 5th IndyCar title. Wow, what a day. What a return to Portland for the first time in 11 years. It's definitely one to remember. Don't go anywhere as we take you now to Darlington and Chris Devoda. Krista?
Well, a great finish to the race with Ryan Hunter-Reay chasing down Takuma Sato, but a frustrated Ryan Hunter-Reay. Pit communication, you said, may have cost you the win?
Yeah, it was. We gave it away today. We were the only car that saved the fuel, that didn't stop it early and skip that other stop under yellow. So we saved the most fuel today. We had the car to beat, had the car to win. Had an ill-timed yellow there with Zach spinning off. And, you know, it is what it is. But then at the end, when Takuma was coming out of pit lane, we had a miscommunication on a local yellow, and they told me to go to wheel 8 because we were so desperate to save fuel. Went to wheel 8 from the pit lane. They told me that, and then Takuma was at. Well, it didn't go yellow until out of 7, and I even almost passed him in wheel 8. You know, pressuring him. Missed opportunity. It is what it is. Pretty bummed with second today, but 28 DHL Honda team did a great job. You know, it's great to get Auto Nation, everybody, Butterball back on the podium. But today was one of those that's really going to sting. You know, it was a win, and I thought today was the day we were gonna have our second win of the season. But saved the fuel, didn't get paid off for it. Unfortunate, but we'll move on to Sonoma.
Now, you've been quite emotional for obvious reasons since Pocono. You shared a lot of your insight over these last couple races. Did you feel like this was an opportunity for you then to kind of cash in and rebound from what's been a tough couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been a tough couple of weeks for many reasons. But really, you know, I've got the best job in the world. I'm healthy, and I'm driving beautiful Indy cars, race cars for a living, and you know, life's good that way. So I've got a wife, 3 beautiful kids, and our thoughts are with Robbie. You know, we're just waiting on news every day. You know, he's one of our brothers, and he's still on his back fighting, but he's going to fight like crazy. So we're with him, and just can't wait to see him.
Well said. Congratulations.
Well, at one point, Alexander Rossi was in position to take over the championship lead by a pretty wide margin. Scott Dixon recovers, and then you get caught up by the yellow.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, we had a really fast car. The Napa Auto Parts Andretti Honda was really quick out front, and it built a 7-second gap, and our tire strategy was going to plan, and everything was good. And then the yellow came, so it hurts a lot, and hopefully it's not something that costs us a championship, but you just got to rebound and move on from it and know that, you know, it's something that's out of your control, and just refocus and go attack again in Sonoma.
We talked before the race about not worrying about when the yellow would come. You're just going to run your race. You haven't gone over data or gone over the video yet, but in hindsight, do you think, is there anything we could have done?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much further we went in a stint than everyone else. We were just going to the tires, and we knew that the Firestone Reds were definitely the tire to be on, so we were trying to extend that as long as possible, because that's where the pace was. But in the end, it just wasn't meant to be. So yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, Scott, I don't think was fast. He had to drive through, and still comes out in front of us. So it's one of those things.
I'm going to let you see the start of this race. You didn't see it. It was all behind you. What do you make of all this going on from onboard Dixon?
I don't know. It doesn't look too bad. Well, I guess we're not to the incident yet. Oh, well, yeah. That's amazing. It's completely black, and he still gets through it. So, I mean, man, you can't take anything away from his capability and you know what he's done, and he's a world-class 4-time champion for a reason.
Well, you've got double points, though. 1 more to go, and I remember Scott Dixon being 47 back and winning a championship just a few years ago. You're within 29. You can get it done?
Oh, yeah, man, we're going to try. We're going to go and go out there and try and put it on pole and win a race, and if we can do that, then we've done our job right. And if the rest falls into place, great, and if not, then it wasn't meant to be.
Alexander Rossi heads to Sonoma, second in the championship.
It is a solid top 10 day for Joseph Newgarden, but Joseph, you were the only driver in the top 10 to finish on blacks. How much did that affect your race today?
I don't think it affected it at all. It was more the yellows and things not falling our way. You know, you can't be mad about it. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. It's funny though, like with Dixon, it's almost like you should wreck at the beginning of the race, get a speeding penalty, and then it'll probably all work out for you. You know, you'll get a top 5 somehow. But yeah, I don't know what we could have done differently. You know, I mean, the team worked really, really hard today. Had great pit stops. You know, tire choices I don't think really played any factor into it. It's just we didn't have the yellows work the way we needed to, and so our strategy kind of fell apart. But led some laps. You know, I thought the guys did a good job, like I was saying. So we'll just go to Sonoma now and try and try and win there.
You started at the front, so you didn't have a chance to see this, but we're going to show you Scott Dixon going through that big wreck.
Well, it's hard to see in the sun here, but yeah, that's well, I'm happy everyone's okay. That's the big thing, right? When you look at that and you see a car go over, so that's a big testament to the safety of IndyCar. You know, these guys work really hard to make these cars safe, so that's kind of the first thing that I think when looking at it. But yeah, I mean, it's
now watch this. Dixon goes and he can't see anything.
Yeah, hey, look, it works out, but I'm just glad everyone's okay. That's the biggest thing in a wreck like that. Everyone seemed to walk away all right, and you know, thanks to IndyCar for all the safety that they do.
And Joseph is now tied with his teammate Will Power, 87 behind championship leader Scott Dixon.
Racing's one of those great things where you're king of the world and the next lap you're in neutral. Talk about what happened to you today, brother.
Yeah, I think on the warm-up lap for the green there, something happened to the gearbox. It jumped to neutral. I went to emergency mode and made it go into gear and thought, okay, that's all right. Seems to be all right. And then first lap coming out of the hairpin or on the restart, bang, pops into neutral again. Everyone behind me went past, and then I realized, okay, I can't use first gear. And then I was making it work with second, and actually I made a mistake. I mean, we were on a reasonable strategy. I made a mistake trying to keep least behind, and then the gearbox completely went. So I'm not sure the gearbox would have made it the whole race anyway, but man, it's tough.
Not to ruin your day, not to ruin your day, but at one time you're leading, Dixon's running 20th, so there's your little the crash there. It wouldn't get out of gear at all.
Yeah, well, yeah, there went to neutral, but I actually got it into reverse and it went, but then it still wasn't. After that, it was stuck between gears when I took off. So,
well, if we might be able to show you the first lap, but at one point you're leading, Dixon's 20th. And suddenly things are coming to you and Rossi. I mean, it's going to be the three of you are going to be about 10 points apart. Here it is. Here's the start. And now watch what happens here when they come back on the track.
Okay, yeah, that's a big.
In the middle of that is that's Marco. And in that mass of dirt is Dixon.
Yeah. Oh, so Dixon actually went off too. Man, when it's your year, yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah. Isn't it what?
And he kept the engine running.
The guy's going to win the championship, no question. Like, I don't think he's going to have a bad day. So, yeah.
Okay, here it is. This is the best thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, he gets through that. You have got to be kidding me.
Senior, you've been saying all along.
And he's still going.
Hey, you've been saying all along you need one bad day for Dixon.
Yeah.
That was your chance.
Seriously, look at that. He's actually stopped and then he takes off.
Never killed.
Oh yeah. Nah, he's going to win the championship.
All right, he's heading for the bar, fellas. He can't see anymore. Thanks, Will Power.
The Verizon IndyCar Series returned to the Pacific Northwest on Sunday for the first time in 11 years. And what a comeback, what a spectacular comeback it was. Opening lap, a multi-car pileup, James Hinchcliffe, Sebastian Bourdais, Ed Jones, Graham Rahal, and that is Marco Andretti flying over the top and down. Rolling. What you don't see in that massive dust cloud is this man, Scott Dixon, the championship leader. He follows Graham Rahal in. But what you don't see, in addition to all of the drivers being okay, which they were, is this man, Scott Dixon, pulled off a Houdini and drove out of this crash to rejoin the race. Pole sitter, Will Power, not such a fortunate story. Gearbox issues and crashed into the tyre barrier, was able to make it back into the race. However, his Penske teammate, Joseph Newgarden, was feeling a little more racy. He took the lead away from Alexander Rossi. Jordan King also had a nice day. And then, later in the race, Rossi returned the favour to Joseph Newgarden. These two pretty much arm wrestled the entire race, but they were not on the podium. Topping the podium was Rahal Letterman Lanigan driver Takuma Sato, last year's Indy 500 winner, picked up his first permanent road course victory. And Scott Dixon came in with a 26-point lead, leaves with a 29-point lead and a wounded race car. But much to the delight of Chip Ganassi, his team owner, one more race to go in 2 weeks in Sonoma.